All right. Good morning, Miami Dolphin fans, and welcome to another edition of On the Clock, the Miami Dolphins Weekly Draft Show here on FTSN. I'm Bobby Finstock, joined with always Josh Wingate and Coach, but Coach is not here. He is pulling coaching duty with the Cobras. So we got special guest George of the Fins Faithful podcast. Guys, if you haven't yet, go check out the Fins Faithful podcast on YouTube. It's the fastest rising Miami Dolphins YouTube channel out there. Great content, busting his ass, putting in the work. George, how the hell are you, my man?
Good. Thank you, Bobby. I appreciate all those kind words, and I appreciate coming on your show, Bobby. Bobby, if nobody doesn't know, got me in this, kind of helped me in the beginning of this whole process. So I'm always happy to come on the Finstock Sports Network. I have a bunch of your guys on my show. I had Evan on a few weeks ago. Steve's always on, so I appreciate you having me on. And nice meeting you, Josh.
You as well.
Josh, it's been a couple weeks, my man. I haven't talked to you. Well, we chatted, but we haven't talked. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I love how it's opposite. I love how I have my Cowboys back here. You guys got your Dolphins representing a little bit.
You got that little star in the background, yeah?
I sure do. But no, it's going good. Busy as always, but yeah, I'm excited for this.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. The scouting combine going on. I mean, Dolphins meeting with players, just taking the opportunity to showcase their skills in front of the NFL world and possibly change their futures. You know, players that possibly could have been mid to late round picks, kicking ass in the combine, and now possibly in the first round. You know, I don't want to butcher his last name, but the safety, Nick.
Worry.
Thank you. Yeah. Someone who, you would think, oh, that's a second round, third round pick. No, he's possibly a first round pick. Mason Taylor, shout out to him. He had a great combine, very mature. He had a very good Senior Bowl. Obviously, Jason Taylor's son, Zach Thomas's nephew. A lot of Dolphin fans looking at him for nostalgic reasons, but also, hey, it could be justifiable now because of what he's done in the combine, kicking butt in the gauntlet. Let me just start it off before we get into some Dolphin news with the combine. Josh, I know you've been busy, but has there anything that you've seen when you've had a chance to take a look? Has anybody stood out to you? Anything kind of, or even bad? Anything you got to go ooh, or you're like, damn, I'm intrigued by this kid.
Yeah, I'm looking at the numbers, and like a guy like Bashal, I'm gonna say his name wrong probably, but Bashal Tutton,
running back,
running back out of Virginia Tech. Just his 10-yard split, his 40. Those numbers stand out to me because that means, he can get up and going. So for someone like the Dolphins, where outside zone, someone that can hit that edge quickly, and he was a productive player at Virginia Tech. So someone like him. Also, I was heavy on the running backs here, but Donovan Edwards. Again, that 10-yard split. I love looking at 10-yard splits for running backs because that means they can hit holes fairly quickly. And for Donovan Edwards, someone I didn't think was going to be that big of a speedster compared to like a Trevor Etienne. I felt like him having the same 10-yard split as Etienne is pretty nice for him. So liking that situation there.
Yeah, just a note on Edwards. I think the bench press numbers came out. I think he was number one also among the running backs. But yeah.
What about you, George? Is there any player that stood out to you or in a good or a bad way?
I think for me, the guy, and I think this kind of maybe has some impact on the Dolphins at 13, is Jahadi Barron. His deep speed was the issue coming into this draft. He's a versatile guy, kind of a Swiss Army guy, plays nickel, can even play some safety. He's a guy I think, like character-wise and traits, the Dolphins are really going to like. Now, would I do it? No. But him running a 4.4 flat, he made some money that day. I think he's in the conversation at 13. As far as what I didn't like, I know you preaching the choir for Ollie Gordon. Sometimes you watch these players, and I know everybody says the combine is like underwear Olympics, but sometimes you want to take a look at these guys, how they look, right? Like, and Ollie Gordon, just to me, it's kind of like, what was that running back? I forget. I don't know. Maybe Josh, you guys know that went to the Chargers in the first round at Texas A&M a few years ago. He was like
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking to.
Everybody's like he went in the fourth round all the time. He just kind of has that feel to me. I wasn't impressed with DSG. he wasn't. I wasn't impressed with him a lot. And Gunnar Helm disappointed me. I thought he'd be a little more athletic. He ran 44, but and just overall the size and length of and how many of them at the defensive line position I thought was impressive.
Great points. I mean, and again, it's a long process. Players, they kind of go up and down, and you bring up a good thing. For me, watching Ollie Gordon on film, I liked what I saw. I love his size. Good pass catcher as well. Kind of fits what Miami style is. However, the scouting combine, like you said, underwear Olympics or not, it's a measuring stick, and so he has a little bit of ways to go. The two running backs that did really good. Talk about Miami is Damian Martinez. He did himself a big favor. He looked really good. And Hampton, Amarian Hampton. I mean, and that Mike McDaniel was kind of like, he even touched Greer. It's like, hey, are you, So that obviously raised a lot of, you're damn right, DSG. I don't take that, you can keep posting all you want. Best BPA at 13. Let me ask you that. Oh, okay, good. Thank you, George.
I couldn't agree more. And I will say this about this draft, not to get off subject, but everybody says this is a little bit of a weaker draft, but I'll tell you, for the Miami Dolphins, the stars align in this draft. It's what they need. This draft offers even better than last year, and it's going to be hard for them to mess it up at 13 because there's like 5 or 6 positions. I actually like that 13 spot. I even like if they trade down, but there's going to be you can go lineman, safety. You can give me an argument on tight end. You can give me an argument even linebacker. The kid out of Alabama. Everything they need is there. But, take the best player available. But I think this year, like, the best player available is going to align with a need on the Dolphins because, there's so many of them. But, I agree with you. Always, you get yourself fired unless you're Chris Greer if you don't take best player available. Cough, cough, Austin Jackson. You know what I mean? Like, that's how you usually get fired.
I talked about that yesterday. I said that yesterday, but we have so many needs. Oh, but we need to get this guy. If you're drafting for need at 13, I mean, that's why we took Eichenberg over Jonathan Taylor. That's why you took Austin Jackson over Justin Jefferson. Don't do that. You go BPA. You go with the elite talent. Whoever's there that and again, if it happens to be the safety, perfect. If it's Malachi Starks, awesome. But what if McMillan is sitting there? What if Ashton Genty? What if one of those guys are sitting there? That you don't pass on that type of talent.
Yeah, I know nobody wants a corner, but if Will Johnson's there,
Will Johnson is another one.
I'm not dying to get a corner. It's a need more than
it is
realize.
A need.
And again, I think free agency is going to tell us the bigger picture here because of how many needs they have and how much this draft kind of points to all their needs. So I think you'll get a better idea. But like Will Johnson, you can make an argument if he's there at 13, he's absolutely the best player on the board.
Josh, what do you think, man? For that pick, for at least the first pick, are you BPA or do you go need at that point?
So I see DSG asked that question, and no disrespect when it comes to this, but he probably hasn't watched previous shows because I've previously said position value doesn't even matter to me. Like I'm taking if that's a player that I think is going to be a Pro Bowl player, perennial Pro Bowl player, I'm taking him. I don't care. If I evaluated him and he is someone, I always go back to like we talked about tackle versus guard. I don't care. It's someone that's a part of my offensive line. I'll take all top 10 picks on my offensive line for all I care. If I know they're going to be phenomenal players, I don't care what position they play. I'm taking them in the top 10, as well as many positions. I just don't care. I'm taking BPA all the way through, and I'm building my roster with the best players available. So
I'll give you an example. You remember when? Sorry, Bobby, to cut you off. You remember when Detroit they went Campbell and they went Gibbs, and everybody was saying, "Oh my God, position of value." They just took the 2 guys they thought played football the best, and they get them on the roster. You get as many good football players on the roster. Worry about it later, and that's it. That's what good organizations do. That's what the Ravens do. That's what the Steelers do. That's what the Chiefs do. They get good football players. They worry about it later.
And that's right. And, and that's why, I mean, if we talk about it, last year, obviously, I liked Chop Robinson. I had a good grade on him. I always said that his film did not match his statistics. George, you and I discussed that. Josh, obviously, you and I discussed it throughout the draft process. Braden Fisk was the guy I banged the table for. I absolutely loved Braden Fisk, and I was always saying, if you could get him when you could get him. And, I mean, look what he's turned out to be. You go BPA. And, again, BPA is not what the draft simulator says it is or what another guy says it is.
Exactly.
Josh is doing his homework. I do my homework. George, you do yours. We all have different boards, and we go, okay, that's what we're saying with BPA. Like, okay, this guy, you cannot pass up this guy. And
I'm pretty sure
No, you're
I'm
good.
pretty sure last year we said Braden Fisk is probably going to go somewhere in the second to third round. And if he's not drafted in the top 20, everyone that was in the top 20 are going to wish they took him.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
And look where he is. And look, Scotty says it right there. Philly's entire roster is BPA. That's my thing. That's what I'm saying. First off, to a lot of, I said it yesterday, George and Josh, I was saying them on Finn's Talk today. That's what these teams do. The teams that are in the hunt all the time, Kansas City, Baltimore, Philadelphia, they go BPA. They don't do this whole, we need a receiver. Let's go get a receiver. Unless there's a stud receiver there. But if there's a stud linebacker or a stud corner or something that's there, they're going to grab them. And guess what? 5-10 years from now, they're going, hey, we're always in the playoff. 5 years from now, we're always in the playoff. Where Miami's like, damn, we should never have drafted this guy. Eichenberg, Jackson, whatever. Now Jackson has done better, but that's just an example. I mean, Justin Jefferson, Austin Jackson. You know what I'm saying? So it's just it's I understand the fans saying, man, but we have so many needs. A lot of teams do. That's why I'm hoping that what Miami should be doing in free agency, once they restructure and they do whatever they do to get this much cap as possible, is go into free agency and fill as many needs as possible. So that way, when you go into the draft, you're not reaching or having to force yourself to reach and go get somebody. But let's talk about very quick with Miami news. Terron Armstead's picture up there. Mike McDaniel had stated before Armstead restructured his deal that Miami was moving forward as if he was not coming back. They were they drafted Patrick Paul in the second round. They were evaluating different players and whatever. Armstead turns around not too long after that, restructures it, makes it to a vet minimum, saying, basically saying, I'm going to give you guys, I'm not going to handicap you. I need to make a decision. I need time. I want you guys to be able to try to better out the roster, and then I'll let you know. George, I'll start with you, and then Josh, I'll follow up. But George, when you saw this, what was your reaction to this?
First reaction is probably means the end of Terron Armstead. Likely he means he's hanging it up. But it also leaves the option down the road, and let's say they don't like what they see out of Paul in late August, it leaves the door open maybe to work some out at a lower cost. But it also tells me, hey, it's Patrick Paul's time now, right? And I don't have a lot of confidence. I know we talked about last year, Jeff. I wasn't a fan of Patrick Paul at all. Chop, I could understand, whether I thought he was going to be productive, but I understood the ceiling. I understood the traits you were getting. I saw the dream. But with Paul, not a big fan. He was up and down last year. But to me are they going to address this with a veteran? Like, are they going to go in the camp to me with Patrick Paul only as the left tackle? I think they're going to give him every intention to do it. But, yeah, I think it means the end for Armstead. It gives me some concern. Maybe you go in the draft. There's a ton of tackle, guard, combinate guys who can move inside, including at the top with Will Campbell. I doubt he gets there, but like somebody like that, you need some insurance policy at left tackle. To me, we need depth there, and I get concerned what's beyond Patrick Paul there at that position.
Josh?
Yeah, I think so. It tells me that Armstead's just a good dude that's undecided. I think he understands, like, hey, if I have this salary, you're going to have to cut me if I don't know what I'm doing. So I truly am going to cut my salary because I truly don't know what I'm doing. So he cut it so he can prolong his time to make that decision. So I think it's a 50-50 shot here. Armstead could come back, which would be amazing for
at that number,
Miami at that number. Like was said, like it either gives you a really good starter at left tackle, or it gives you a really good depth piece. But it's to be seen. I think he very well could hang it up. He's injury prone at this point. But yeah, I think who knows at this?
I think it gives him insurance policy at that position. Because you get in camp and he's still undecided, but you're looking at Patrick Paul. Like I said, it's not where you want it to be, right? You hope it to be, and then I agree with you. I think it's a real good, even though I think it's a signal he's probably going to hang it up, but I think it's also, I'd say, a 30-40% chance he could actually come back depending what happens. And maybe even as in the backup role, in a mentor role.
Well, and Josh hit it right on the head, though. And we'd say it gives Miami the flexibility, gives Terron the flexibility to take his time. He probably is really wrestling with the idea of like, man, do I really want to retire? Do I want to come back? Obviously, he loves the organization. I mean, he wants to stay with the organization to be able to, because he could easily have said, just cut me. Hey, I'm going to retire, or hey, maybe I want to go somewhere. No, he wants to be here. But it looks like he's truly wrestling with that decision. And he says, hey, like Josh was saying, I don't want to just get cut, because obviously they need to make a move because they're trying to restructure deals. Let me go ahead and I'm going to make this the minimum. So that way I'm giving you guys the flexibility to go make some moves if you need to. And also my freedom to sit down and actually take my time. And if he does come back, Terron Armstead at a minimum compared with his history is a lot better than obviously him at his full number. I mean, the Dolphins are better with Armstead than they are without him, even in a mentor role with a Patrick Paul, And again, Paul, we knew coming in was a raw prospect. I didn't dislike what I saw last year. Obviously, there's a lot of work still. That's up to Miami to make that decision if they believe he could be that guy. I like this. I like what I saw in the little bit of time that I got when we get to see him on the field. But again, he was able to learn in a short amount of time from one of the best in the league at Terron Armstead, and he'll have a second year under the same coaching staff, which is huge for a young player. And even if Miami says, look, maybe we do need another tackle, maybe, then Paul is a very good flex option. He's a very good rotational tackle. So Miami's set, that's, in regards of that position, they could either get another guy and stack him on top or roll in with Paul and go from there. So I'm not as down on Paul, but I understand the hesitation to be like, oh, we're good at that spot, because we haven't seen it yet. You have to see to believe. And so I saw some growth, but I'm with you. It's like, you can't go in there with the, the proclamation that he is the guy. Yeah. That's why for me, like Josh said, I'm always about, I don't need a true tackle. I don't need a true guard. I need a guy who could be flexible in the offensive line. If he could play a guard, you put him a guard, you roll him out to tackle. Calvin Banks is that guy too. Calvin Banks is one of those guys. I butcher his name, Jonah. Thank you.
I love him.
He's my top rated guy now.
Hot take. If they took him at 13, I wouldn't hate it. I know everybody would raise an eyebrow, but I think he's a all pro guard in 2 or 3 years.
And so he's my top rated guy right now. And great.
Well, we agree on that.
Yeah. I like what I saw from him. So that's something I think it's important, because if you can go and get a guy who could play tackle, play guard, then if you put Patrick Paul as the starter, if he struggles, you go ahead and push that guy out to tackle. But you got to hope that Miami in free agency, which Mike McDaniel said, he kind of reemphasized what Chris Greer had said about we need to invest in this offensive line, and said that, Miami will address the offensive line via free agency and the draft. So my hope is Miami signs at least 2 guys, or even, I don't care, even more, because you need depth, but signs a couple guys, maybe a quality guard, another like a swing tackle, or a center, and then go into the draft and then grab another guard in the draft, and that way you're coming out with some quality pieces, and you go into next season going, okay, you know what? At least they addressed it. I don't need all pro guys all around the board. I need depth. I need maybe 1 or 2 guys that I'm like, oh, for sure, those are our starters. We're not questioning it. George is not on his podcast going, yeah, but I'm thinking about this. I don't know if this guy's the guy. We want to be able to go like, okay, man, yeah, we know about Patrick Paul. We'll see. We got Zettler, whatever. I really wanted Trey Smith, but obviously he got franchise tag. But I'm saying somebody like that, a quality starter there, Aaron Brewer, a draft pick, and then Austin Jackson, where we're going, okay, at least we're comfortable. And, now you're giving Tua the best opportunity at that point. And now there's no excuses that if he gets hit and he gets hurt again, it's like, dude, they tried. What can you do? So Scotty says, we need 2 starting guards. Why wouldn't we assume that our second round offensive tackle would be our offensive tackle inside of needing 3 new starters? We've got to be able to develop our draft picks. Absolutely. That's fair. I just think that, that would be Miami's decision. But if Miami looks at, especially in a year that you're going into, that's probably going to be is the most important in this regime, in this run, Miami can't just go, oh, but we drafted him last year, we're just gonna have to stick with him. If you saw last year that maybe he just wasn't the guy, and you go into the offseason and you're like, dude, I just don't believe in it, and there's a guy that's obviously better, do it. Don't lock yourself in. I'm cool with rolling with him because I saw some glimpses and I get it. And I think there's some. George and I had a very long conversation on the phone about Patrick Paul. He's like, Bobby, I disagree with you, man. We had a whole thing. So I believe in Patrick Paul, but I also understand the idea of going, man, but we just haven't seen enough. We're not comfortable with the idea of just being him, the foregone conclusion.
On Paul, I would say this. I think they can get by with him. Like, I saw enough last year with this length that it plays. Like, I think one thing I will say in his favor is, like, in college, you saw a lot of, like, bad hand technique, but it just seems like he plays like that. Like, in the pros, it worked kind of, and he just, his length is just overwhelming. Like, I think maybe it's just kind of the way he plays. I think you can get by with him. If we're trying to go deep, we're trying to make a playoff run. I don't know if Patrick Paul right now, I'm comfortable totally. But again, I think look, if things go south, they have Terron Armstead in their back pocket. I mean, I think that's what this is all about, really, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, and me, so I can't remember my entire thought process on Patrick Paul. I think he was like one of my last guys at the end of like the drop off that I was like, okay, I'm comfortable with him. But you throw Patrick Paul in at left tackle. We're also saying we need 3 new starters on the offensive line. That's a very young offensive line with no one to protect Patrick Paul at one of the most premier and difficult positions to play in the NFL. What are you going to do? You're going to just fill in at that left guard with a rookie? Like, there's a conversation to be had of, well, what happens when the left guard doesn't know what's happening, the left tackle, and it just breaks down. So I'm trying to protect my left tackle. So if I don't get an experienced guy at left guard, I might not be looking and feeling comfortable at Patrick Paul being my left tackle.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. And that's why I was looking at a player like a Trey Smith, but there's other guys there, a veteran guard at that left guard spot to protect Patrick Paul, to help guide him, be there by his side. And then your other guard would be the right guard. That would be where you would get your rookie, because now you're plugged between 2 veterans with Jackson and Brewer. I don't know about 3 starters. That's only if you go with another tackle and you're looking to try to replace.
Well, I think you're probably including Paul as a new starter, right? With 3 starters. But yeah.
Okay.
But it's a great point, Josh, and I really hadn't looked at it like that. Like, you go out and get a Will Fries at left guard, or a Will Hernandez, probably cheaper. I got a name for you guys. I don't know how you feel. What do you feel about Mekhi Becton? Moved into guard last year.
Damian just mentioned him.
Okay. Oh, he did?
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Good job.
There you go.
Like, to me, what this team needs, they need the biggest, strongest, most physical guys up front. They got to change the demeanor. And this guy moved into guard. It concerns me a little bit. It was only 1 year. It kind of reminds me of, I always forget his name, the UM lineman we signed from the Redskins a few years ago. He was a first-round pick, went to UM. He played a guard 1 year for Washington. We signed him, and for $10 million a year, he didn't work out. But the 1 year of experience, if anybody in the chat knows who it is, the 1 year experience only at guard, but I mean, he moves the needle, man. Like, you don't get any bigger than that. But I agree. That was a great point, Josh, about veteran. I'd be more comfortable with a really good, like, their big free agent signing being on the left side.
I'm wondering, Brandon Scherf is at the end of his career.
That's a name.
How much is he going to require? Because, again, another guy that came from Washington, Iowa guy. He's kind of that same, like, he puts his nose to the ground and he just fires at somebody and he gives his all every play. Like, if I can get him in like the $5 million range, 10 years of experience, playing next to him, I'm comfortable at that point because he
100%.
can help guide him through this entire process.
Absolutely. No. Shout out though to everyone tuning in right now. We appreciate you guys all watching wherever you're watching from. You're watching On the Clock, the Miami Dolphins Weekly Draft Show. If you're watching anywhere other than YouTube, pop onto YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button here on FTSN. We got a lot of great content throughout the week. But also go to the Fins Faithful podcast. If you're a Dolphins fan and you're not on the Fins Faithful podcast, you're missing out. Don't do that. Go to the Fins Faithful podcast and like and subscribe. But Coach McDaniel had his press conference. I really did like what I heard from him. Obviously, he did not do himself any favors in the postseason press conference with Chris Greer because of what he admitted, which it was obvious about the lack of discipline and whatever. However, I did like what I heard from him on the in this press conference. And when they asked him, somebody asked him basically the question of team need. Do you want to go BPA or team need? I don't have it in front, but I was paraphrasing here. And basically he was saying he we can't afford a red shirt player. We can't afford to red shirt a player this year. We need guys to be able to make moves right away, come in and make an impact. And, he was talking about how he watches the draft, that he looks at the college, when he watches college film, he's watching how they can translate into the pros, yet also, what can grow from it. So I think that's where Miami's mind is. That's why, they're looking at everybody, a lot of positions that the fans are saying, man, we don't really need that right now, are what Miami is looking at, what Miami is watching. Tight end, running back, corner. Look, the players they've met with so far, Josh and George, Tyler Warren, tight end out of Penn State. We know how popular he is among Dolphin fans and around the league. He got a little bit of a knock because of his hand size. I know and Jalen Milroe, quarterback out of Alabama, he got knocked at the Senior Bowl, but now people are like, hey, he came out a winner here. It's kind of his hands are a little bigger. That's how little things like that, it's like, dude, his fingertip was just a little too short for me. It's like, okay, guys, but Warren, Miami's met with him. Awesome. Now, again, I always say, let's make this clear. Just because they meet with a player does not mean that they're going to take that player if he's there, but they are doing their due diligence. But Scotty, I'm with you. I've liked everybody they've met with so far, and I'm going to probably miss somebody, but Tyler Warren, Ollie Gordon, Will Johnson out of Michigan, the corner, Malachi Starks, the safety, Mason Taylor. They met with Gray Zabel, Calvin Banks, Jake Brenningstall out of Clemson, Gunnar Helm, the tight end out of was it Texas?
Yeah.
And I haven't heard any. I maybe I'm missing on a name, but I do know that in the Senior Bowl, adding to those names, of course, like I said, Jalen Milroe, Dylan Gabriel, those are two quarterbacks that they spoke with at the Senior Bowl. So those are just some of the names. As more names come in, we will discuss it. But just hearing that list, George, and then Josh, follow up with you. George, you hear those names. Which ones get you a little like you start going, oh, you're getting perked up. You're like, oh, I like that. I like that.
I guess the Warren one, I guess not necessarily gets me perked up, but is the one I think is the most interesting, right? I wouldn't do that at 13. I know a lot of guys like him. I actually like Loveland as much. I think he has he runs a more extensive route tree. I think as a pass catcher, he's probably the best in this draft. But again, complimenting him with Jonnu Smith, I think I'm not worried so much about getting the compliment to Jonnu Smith. Jonnu's 30 years old now, something like that. I would be surprised if they went Warren at 13. I'm curious to get your guys' opinion on Tyler Warren at 13, actually, if you guys would be in favor of that. But yeah, I guess that's the name off the top of my head. I would have to go through the whole list. There's so many guys, and like you said, Bobby, please, just because they meet with the player does not mean they're drafting them. You know what I mean? Like I think I see that. So they're going to meet with a bunch of players, as are all of the other 31 teams. But yeah, I would say Warren is the one that piques my interest. Not so much that I want to, but the discussion of, man, would you do that? Is it, he's not Brock Bowers, you know what I mean? Like, and he went 15. Like, for me as a trade back, he won't be there. I think he'll go high. But like, if you went back into the 21 and you took Tyler Warren, okay. But like, I think the discussion around Tyler Warren, I think is interesting at that position.
Stavros, fins up, brother. He's watching from New Mexico. Pretty cool. Josh, I'll let you follow up, and then I can give my response about the tight end, or is it Tyler Warren?
Yeah. I'll talk about Tyler Warren as well. I just feel like at that spot, if you're not Brock Bowers and you didn't produce in college like Brock Bowers, it's hard to take you. And it's crazy because everyone's kind of feeling that remorse of like just shooting down Brock Bowers throughout the entire process last year. So they're like, oh, here's another guy that, oh, maybe I could drop him here and take him and he'll be just as good. No, Brock Bowers is just a different animal. You're not doing that again. So yeah, it would be hard to take Tyler Warren. The guy that, I know he's like one of those top tier guys, but Kelvin Banks is a guy that catches my eye just because of the way to, well, what happens if we're not ready for Patrick Paul? Well, he might be able to slide in the tackle guard. It just gives you that flexibility of what am I going to do? Let me get the best 5 people on my offensive line. So that catches my eye the most in this process because, again, we know the quarterback situation. We need to protect him, so we need to get the best 5 available and make sure that he can stand up and not get hurt and play through an entire season because it's coming to the end for Tua. So we need to give him the most ability to show out and show up and win a playoff game. So, or actually show up and play in a playoff game.
Bobby, did they work out Mbo? Because Mbo, to me, is the guy I like even higher than Banks. If he's there at 13, he's a slam dunk. I don't know if they worked him out, but if they did, he'd be my guy that I would pick as far as perks my interest. Scotty, good job.
Scotty and Daniel.
Scotty's killing it with the comment.
Man. Richard Keys, great to see you in there. He says trade the Patriots for Joe Milton. Damian Guzman. Let's see here. Fins up. Appreciate you watching. Everyone who's tuning in, we appreciate you guys tuning in right now. Hit that like and subscribe button. They have met with Membro. So in regards to 13, first off, Tyler Warren. Again, I'm all about BPA. And if they feel he's BPA at 13, you do that. If you don't want to miss out on some. But I will say, though, is that there's a lot of tight ends I like in this draft where I could say, okay, I could go the next BPA, whoever that's. I don't need to go Tyler Warren at 13. And I'm not sleeping on it either because people, but we have Janu there. But who do we have behind Janu? If you get a Tyler Warren at 13, now you got those 2 guys and you're good, dude. Like you got some studs there at tight end and more weapons for Tua. However, there's a lot of tight ends in here that I like. And the one I like a lot, Harold Fannin Jr., I like him a lot, and I'm absolutely cool. If you go offensive line or whatever else at 13, or you make possibly trade down, who knows? But in the round 2, if he's there, I am banging the table for that guy. I like him a lot. So I don't hate getting him, and I don't hate passing him up. But he's that man crush for the Dolphins fan base right now, guys. George, you're familiar with this. Josh, you are as well. But there's always, especially with Dolphin fans, and I'm sure with any team, but really Dolphin fans, as we're talking about, there's always that one guy that they always are talking about throughout there. Oh, we got to have this guy. He's the next big thing. He's and it's like, okay, but there's other guys, and there are guys just as good, and they end up being just as good. So I don't hate it, but at the same time, you could afford to pass him. There's other guys later in the draft you can get.
Can I give you a late round sleeper tight end, probably 4th, 5th? Thomas Fidoni. Now, this guy he fit with the Dolphins because he's always injured. I think he only played like 2 years because of his injury. But you look at the length, the size. He can do some of the things that Tyler Warren can do. But again, I think he's an older prospect. But I just watching a little bit of him, and I saw him a little at the Senior Bowl. I like Fidoni as somebody late round. Like if you because remember this, guys, we have 10 picks, but after 48, we don't have a pick till 98. There's a 50 pick gap where all these players we're talking about mostly are top 75 players.
Yeah.
So we got to try to get in another pick in between 48 and 98, maybe trading back from 48 or trade down in round 1. You're not going to be able to get all these guys. You're going to have to pick 2 positions, like the 2 best players available. And like I said, though, it's going to be hard for them to mess it up, Bobby and Josh, because the strength of this draft is every need the Dolphins have. So they're going to get somebody. But so again, just keep that in mind. And that's why I think free agency is going to tell a big picture of how they do it. But yeah, that's just I just want to throw that out there, a late round guy I like.
So Stavros, right there. I mean, look, I'm with, first off, nostalgic reasons, 100,000%. But it goes past that. Again, Mason Taylor has really done himself a lot of favors this offseason in this draft process. You know, in the Senior Bowl, you know, during his interviews, he comes off as mature. You look at his numbers, you go, but if you watch the tape and you watch what he's done at the Senior Bowl and now the scouting combine, you see a productive player in the future there. You can make it the argument that Miami could take him in the second and third round and be good with it. Aronde Gadsden, you could plug a receiver and tight end. But, you know, I'm 100%. I'm down with that. He's played really good. I have a third round grade on him. I really like him. I love his size, weight, height, and the way he plays. And, of course, his dad. I was a huge Aronde Gadsden fan growing up. So, two nostalgia picks. What do we call that? Nepotism? Nepotism? Is that what that is? But those guys, and, you know, really done themselves favor. Mason Taylor, I've been so impressed with in this process. I mean, he is climbing in regards of the fan.
It's so funny when you look at him. It's like a mixture of Jason and Zach. Like,
I know people forget that. Like, they keep going Jason Taylor's son, but it's like it's also Zach Thomas's nephew. I mean, think about it.
Because I remember Zach's sister. They had that kind of square jawline. They kind of looked similar, and it's just like
legacy picks. I like that.
Yeah, he almost has to be a Dolphin, right? But there's talk of him moving up. I don't think he'll be a late first. I think that's some
probably early second, mid second.
I think there's a chance he'll be there at 48.
Yeah, for sure. So let's see. Me too. Gatson was my guy in the 90s, but yes, both guys are actually very good. Yeah. Absolutely, Richard. They got to get a backup quarterback for sure. Whether through free agency or the draft. This is a very important. They have to. They cannot go in the next season like they did last season with, practice squad, third string quarterbacks back there. Can't do it. Can't afford it. And I know there's names out there, but that's for another time.
I just want to also say Calvin Banks, I feel like, brings a nastiness to the offensive line. Yes. He's willing to lay people out. So I think if he does play, it's probably going to be more on the, like that right guard, like we talked about, that plugged that rookie into right guard. And I think he could just excel and just throw people around because you watch a lot of guards and a lot of tackles and you see, okay, they got strong hands. This guy looks like he's barely touching people and they're flying. Mm-hmm. So it'd be nice to have that on that offensive line and actually make some movement and have someone that can truly protect Tua. That's my thing is we need to protect Tua at all costs because when he does play, he plays fairly well. When he has a comfortable spot, he does well. And I'm one of the biggest Tua haters there are. But you can't deny his production when.
And so, who's the head of the Tua fan club? Is that George? Is that what DSG's saying?
No,
I like how George goes. Don't get me going. Don't get me going.
Josh, you said it best. When things get messy around him, is when he gets in trouble. When it's clean and things are calm, he's a surgeon, man. And but the problem is, it's when it's January and December, January, and February are when things tend to get messy, and I think that's when you see him. Yep. That's why I know we're not talking about quarterback, but I've always said this: there's only one quarterback I won this draft. We're gonna take a shot, do it on Milroe, because if the percentage is small, and I'll agree, I saw him throw yesterday, and it was not great. Like he's still raw as a passer. He reads half the field still, but you want somebody to compete physically with Allen, Jackson. Yep. This percentage might be small, but it's time to take a shot at that position. And that's the problem. Look, I love Kyle McCord, but I know what Kyle McCord's going to be, right? Like, I know what his ceiling is. Like, I know the deal there. If this guy turns into Jalen Hurts, again, it's a 5-10% chance. But when have we done that at that position? It's time. It's time.
Yeah. My guy right now, and I have to watch more of these quarterbacks, but Will Howard is that guy because he took a team, produced, and I mean, he won a championship. So I want someone that's been there, done it. He's got the size, he's got everything, but yeah, I have to watch more.
How did you think? Curious. How did you think he did yesterday, Josh? Because it was a mixed bag for me.
I honestly didn't watch it.
Oh, okay.
But like we look at these guys and we look at the playoffs, and I take it under heavy considerations what these guys at the quarterback position are able to do at in the playoffs, because I watch a guy, I can't think of his name right now, the Texans quarterback.
Stroud.
Stroud. What he did against Georgia in the playoffs was like, that's what put him to the next level. He surgically destroyed Georgia in the playoffs, and he looked like an NFL player. I think Will Howard kind of did the same, just in each and every game that he played in the playoffs. And he just has that NFL size. And then you look at a guy like Dylan Gabriel, who just looked completely lost in the game that he played. And you just see, okay, this guy is ready for that next level, because college playoffs, it actually is the closest you're going to get to an actual NFL game, and you're playing actual NFL talent each week. So
yeah,
I'm big on.
I agree with you, Will Howard. He's a fascinating one for me. You know,
Yeah.
I actually I got to go look back on him more. But yeah, and Dylan Gabriel, I'm done with the 5'11" left-handed Hawaiian quarterbacks for right now. I think we have enough in the building, right?
So I want to say this because I know this was asked very quick. I will, and I'm going to respond to Scotty's thing. First off, I'm big on Jalen Milroe. I like him a lot, and would not hate getting spending a pick on him again.
We're aligned in this draft, Bobby. It scared me.
Yeah, I know. No, it is, dude. I'm a huge Milroe dude. I like Milroe. I like his potential, man. And I'm with you. Everything you said about, yeah, there are some, obviously people go, oh, but look what he did. Look at that throw. Look at this. But look at the potential.
If you miss on him, I'm okay with it. Could you?
That's right. You miss, but that's the trend where the league is going. I mean, and
absolutely.
He is so. But very quick, Scotty, I'm gonna get to Scotty's point because that's exactly what we're talking about. But DSG asked this earlier. I'm just gonna say, were you shocked at Washington getting Debo for a fifth? No. That's why I'm not shocked when people talk about when they're talking about Tyreek Hill, what you could possibly get for. Oh, I want a first round pick. You're more than likely not going to get a first round pick. You're probably going to get a third round pick. It's just the way the league is. And if you really want to move on from him, you get it and you move on. You take it. So no, I'm not shocked that happened. I think I'm shocked that people are shocked. That's how I feel.
They're
about
eating
that.
the money.
Hill would get a third round pick.
San Francisco's more getting that contract off their books more than the return. And
that's right.
You said it, and same thing with Hill. Hill's a better player. You do that same thing. They eat a lot of that contract. They'll give you a third round pick. And absolutely. I'm fine with that. I think it's time to move on. That's a whole different discussion. But
that's a whole other discussion. I get it. And Scotty says, do you take a backup quarterback in the second if Milroe is there over a player who would be an immediate starter? I think we need starters with our first three picks. Okay. Again, and Scotty knows this, and I know he knows this, but I'm going to just say it as the answer this way. That really depends on how free agency goes. Miami needs to attack this free agency by filling up as many needs as possible. And again, getting one or two starters, especially in the offensive line, would be great. But if they can go into this draft, maybe needing one guard, maybe they need a safety later, or they got a safety, but they want to double it down. If they get a veteran tight end, or they could target a tight end, then yes, they could afford taking a quarterback in round 2 if Milroe's there, and he is BPA at that point in time for Miami. I would not pass on Milroe now again, if you don't have those needs filled, then obviously you need to go with the BPA, whatever position that is, and filling that up. But if Miami can go into this draft with as little as needs as possible, then absolutely you do that, because you need a legitimate backup quarterback. And what's great about someone like a Milroe or Will Howard or whatever, if it's later in the draft or whatever, is that you obviously they're not going to start right away. If and when, not or, because he will go down, because that's just his history. If and when Tua goes down, plug and play, see what you have in these guys and these young players. And if they, like George says, if they hit, awesome. You just hit on someone where the league is trending. If they don't, you can move on the season after. You're not locked in. it's the best case scenario. So absolutely, I'd do that. Josh, what's your thoughts on that, man? Would you take a backup quarterback in round 2 if over immediate starters? Or is the same as me with the free agency?
Yeah, it's going to depend on the player. I was thinking this whole time, is Jalen Milroe a second round player? I don't think he is.
I think teams are going to fall in love with the trait when he runs, though. I think that gets bumped up. But yeah, good point.
I mean, I would struggle, like me personally, with who he is as a thrower. I would struggle to have him in the second round. But in all, like, no, I think we need to, and we've been saying this, and I'm saying we, like, it's my team. It's not my team.
No,
it's our team, man. It's our team.
The thing is, the Dolphins need to look at the future of this quarterback position. I mean, they needed to draft quarterbacks last year, the year before. Like, they need options here because, again, like the long-term contract got given to Tua. There's an out in that contract, but there's so much unknown around Tua. Like, nothing was proven last year. Nothing was proven the year before. Like, we need to get the situation going to where if it doesn't pan out, we're not flat on our face like, oh no, we don't know what we're going to do. Like we haven't since Dan Marino has been a quarterback. No, we need to keep going. And as a Cowboys fan, I'm tired of saying we when it comes to the Miami Dolphins, but it's like, yeah, you can't flat on your face since Troy Aikman and going for these quarterbacks and you need to keep, like Dallas got lucky with Tony Romo, undrafted free agent. But they went out and still got a 4th round pick in Dak, who, again, we got lucky with Dak, but we still are taking these chances and getting these players and putting them in positions to take over eventually. And that's what I think the Miami Dolphins need to start doing.
So I obviously did tab move. So talking about staying with quarterbacks, obviously we talked Dolphins, we talked the NFL draft in general, but Coach had an interesting DM the other day to us, Josh, and asking, and George, fill you in on that, just because he was watching QB film and got into Cam Ward, and he's like, guys, am I crazy? Basically, what, is Cam Ward overhyped? And I was really looking forward for him to say it out loud and for us to discuss it. And again, I always say everybody's eyes are different. You could see one person could think a player is the next big thing. The other one might go, no. So
I like when Coach does it too, because he did it last year. He did it last year with Jaden Daniels.
He did, and so I told Coach, and he said, "Hey man, I may not make it. He coaches football. I don't know how you would term that. It's arena football, indoor league.
I think it's
but the Cobras, the Carolina Cobras. So he's the offensive and defensive line coach. He's a trenches guy, and so that's why he couldn't be here today. So shout out to him and shout out to the Cobras, and hopefully we'll get him back next week or whenever he's available. But I told him, can you please just record your take so that way, and we'll react off that. And he, absolutely. So he did that. So I got him here, and so guys, we'll watch that, and then we'll follow up basically with his judgment on Cam Ward and what he saw. So let's go ahead and get Coach in here and get his hot take.
Hey guys, how's it going? This is Coach Vogel chiming in from Carolina Cobras camp. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to make it on the show tomorrow, so I just wanted to give my hot take that I'm sure will have some people burning a little bit because it's out there. But watching film, the hot take is on Cam Ward. My take is I don't have him as highly rated as everybody else. My first film that I watched with him for Miami was Florida State, and I felt like what I was seeing was he had bad overthrows. He took some really bad sacks. Missed some wide open wide receivers. And then the second tape I watched then was, I believe it was the Georgia Tech film, and saw some of the same. So my difference between him and what I saw last year with Jaden Daniels was Jaden Daniels popped off the popped off the charts or popped off the screen for me from day one. Whereas I didn't feel that way with Cam Ward because he, I just didn't see it pop on that Florida State film, and especially with Florida State's defense being as bad as it was last year, I felt like his film would pop off the top. So that's my hot take. Hopefully I get back from practice tomorrow at a time that will allow me to jump on. But I'm sure all of our loyal followers will hit in the comments how crazy of a take that is. But just for me, that's not anything negative on him. I actually have him in Shador, kind of neck and neck. Unfortunately, I watched both films and had a third round grade on both of them. But we all know that those quarterbacks are going to go a lot higher. Both are going to be the first two off the board. But that's the hot take. I hope you guys get an opportunity to have some fun with that. So if I don't get a chance to get on and talk the pod with you guys, I'll definitely check out the comments after the show, and hopefully see you guys next week. So live from Carolina's Cobra Camp, day one here in Greensboro, North Carolina. Hope you guys are doing well, and we'll see you guys, if not tomorrow, on the show next week. Love you guys.
All right, that's Coach Vogel from Cobra's Camp. Appreciate him. Hey, and who did he bring up? Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
And I'll just say very quick, and then Josh, I'm going to let you start off with his assessment of Cam Ward. Obviously, looking at one game of that, which is FSU, but that's cool. But I will say, it's no secret that this QB class is not what last year's was, and possibly what next year's is going to be. But the problem is, a lot of these teams, and Scotty just put out in a comment, players are going to get overdrafted. And so, but Josh, I'll start with you, and then George, you could follow up. But Josh, your thoughts on Coach's assessment of Cam Ward so far?
Yeah, I wish Coach would just be not so soft about his opinion, if you will. I want him to just, because he knows what he's talking about.
He does.
I want him to just be like, look, this is what I think. This is how it is. If I offend you, I offend you, because I think he's right. I when I see Cam Ward, I see a lot of Malik Willis, which I'll go back and I'll say I was a huge Malik Willis fan. I still am. I love Malik Willis. But we will also say we took that, and that draft was not a very good draft.
It was not a good draft.
When it came to quarterbacks. And now we're trying to hype these quarterbacks up because there's a Sanders in this draft. There's a Cameron Ward in this draft. I think there's developmental things that need to happen with Cam Ward. But I just don't think this draft is what we expect it to be. We're already, and I said a couple weeks ago, we're going to see what happens with a lot of these trades that are going to happen here soon. When it comes to quarterbacks, we're already seeing potentially the top team willing to trade back in this draft. So that's saying a lot of what they think about this quarterback position, because they need a quarterback.
They need it desperately.
So I don't think the NFL is seeing these quarterbacks the way that we, as the media or the fan base, are seeing them. So I think we could see a lot of that. Malik Willis, who's the Pittsburgh guy that played for the Eagles this year.
Kenny Pickett?
Kenny Pickett? Or
Fields?
Is it Kenny Pickett? Yeah, Kenny Pickett. I think we could see a lot of that draft, because it was Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis that came out together, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the only one I can think of, Eagles, Steelers.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think we're going to see a lot like that this year.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with both you guys. I think he's the best of a below-average quarterback class.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to put it. Now, look, he's a playmaker. The arm talent is live, but he's at times he's got to dial it back, and I think that's what you're seeing with the Malik Willis. I was also a big Malik Willis fan.
I love Malik Willis.
I like him a little better than Malik. You're dreaming on the playmaking and how calm he is, and the throws he can make, but he will do some things, take sacks, force things that concern you. But again, you're a quarterback needy team, and you're. I think Josh, you made the best point here. The Tennessee Titans need a quarterback as much as anybody, and they're willing probably to trade down with the Giants. Now the Giants are desperate. The Giants probably will move up to one. I think if I had to make a prediction here and go get Cam Ward, yeah, I'm not in love with any of these quarterbacks. I don't like Shedeur Sanders. Not only there's not enough talent there to take on all the other stuff that comes with it. It's kind of like Tua. I don't want to live in that world anymore. But yeah, Cam Ward. Coach makes a great point. There are too many flaws in his game to have him go in the top 5, 10 in this draft. But he's a quarterback. He's the best in a bad group. He will go in the top 5, probably number 1. But yeah, he's got to dial some things down. But there's no doubt. I don't want to crap on him totally. He's a heck of a playmaker. And under pressure, he's as good as it gets. And so I like Cam Ward, but to me, Cam Ward's a late first, second round pick. You know what I mean? Like, if we're totally being honest. Yeah, it does remind me of that Kenny Pickett draft, where I think Pickett was the first quarterback. He went 20th. Yeah, I think the difference is this guy has the arm talent and sort of some of the physical traits that drip a little bit and get you to believe and get you to buy in a little bit more than something like a Kenny Pickett didn't have. But yeah, I think Coach is onto something there.
I will say too, the one thing that stands out to me, what Coach said, is that and what I just used the word was, it didn't jump out to him. That he was hoping that something would pop. He was hoping to get that Jaden Daniels type of thing that he got last year. And he didn't get that with Cam Ward. And again, I get it. And again, everyone, it's the eye test, right? And everybody has to, you look with your own eyes, and Josh is going to have a different viewpoint, you and me, and we're all going to watch the same film, but we may come away with a different part of it. So and I respect that. And again, like I said, this draft class in terms of quarterback is not what last year's was, and it's not going to be what next year's is going to be. And I just love the comparison with the Malik Ward class. That's exactly what it was. But of course, Malik Ward was drafted when in the 3rd round, where this guy he needs to be taken in the 1st round. And again, I think I got a 3rd round on Shedeur. I do, and so does and Coach has it, and Coach has a 3rd round grade on Cam Ward. So he's consistent there. I have a 1st round grade on Cam Ward, and that's between the 1st and early 2nd. And, and I'm with you, George, I won't, there's a lot of things that has to be, that be worked out. But obviously, things that cannot be ignored, he's a proven winner. Went from, the Miami Hurricanes before Cam Ward were 7-6. When he came in, they went to 10-2. He had that major impact. He is a dual threat playmaker. He extends plays. He's always, and when he's extending plays, it's not like, and I'm not crap on Tua here, but when the pocket breaks down, Tua's like, and a mess ensues. When the play breaks down and with the Hurricanes, he's extending the play with his legs, continuing to look downfield and looking for his receiver. That's something that's huge. He's a big game performer. He always shows up. He's poised. He doesn't falter under pressure. I loved what I saw from that. And he's he can improv. When the play breaks down, he's very good at doing something that wasn't supposed to be. I did like that. But there are things that you got to go, man, okay, this is what kind of pushes him down. He's not perfect. He's not the perfect quarterback. And, there are security with ball security concerns. I have it listed here. He had 8 fumbles in last year. When when it goes to those extension plays and he's trying to pay attention to downfield and making a move, they come from behind and knock the ball out, and, it goes from there. Also, though, when the play breaks down, he relies too much on his arm talent than technique. He'll throw off his back foot. He needs to fix that. His footwork is not great or not perfect. It doesn't have to be, but, he has to improve on that. And he will force a throw instead of taking a safer option, which we know Tua could do. Tua will throw it down. People, stop checking it down. That's not what Cam Ward does. When he's scrambling, he will try to force it downfield to make a big play instead of throwing it away or taking that safer option. That's what he does. So I understand. That's why Coach is great, and this is what I love about this show, and I love about talking the draft. It's not all kumbaya. It's not all, we all, we don't always have to agree, or we don't, not every player is great. We put ourselves out there. Everybody does. And, I just loved it when he put that out there. I was like, oh, dude, I get excited when I get excited when we do agree, because we're not all watching film together. But when we plug in our grades, George, and all of a sudden I go, oh crap, Josh and Coach have the same grade. That means something. But that right here, and this is the other thing. Russ Morgan, host of the On Deck Baseball podcast, co-host for the Touchdown in Paradise College Football podcast on FTSN, and a Jets fan, by the way. But 0-star from FCS school to Wazoo to Miami to breaking records. It's 100%. Every year, if you go back and you look at Cam Ward's numbers, he's gotten better every season. He went from 0-star to a Heisman candidate. What I love about Cam Ward too, and I like Malik Willis coming out, but what I love about Cam Ward is his will, his drive. He's a winner. He's a killer. He has that dog in him, and that's going to do him a lot of favors coming out if he's drafted in the right situation. That dog in him means something. I love watching him and Shedeur Sanders going at it, talking trash. That tells me something. You didn't see that in Malik Willis. You don't see that in Malik. That's why he is where he is. And I think that's why Cam Ward is going to go in the first round, possibly number 2, 1, whatever, wherever, if the Titans trade back. And I think it is worth it. The film says one thing, and we got to judge off what we see on film, but also you got to add in those other factors, and you see, man, this kid gets better every year. He has that dog in him, and that dog, again, Miami went from 7-6 to 10-2 in a year. Now he does have to answer to the fact that he left the game early. What happened in that Pop-Tart Bowl? What was going on there? Why did he not finish it out with his team? Did they have a plan in rain? That was never really clearly answered. So you got to question that, and that's something teams have to figure out. Because he is a great leader, but that comes into question. So there are a lot of questions. But I'm with George. I like Cam Ward. I think he is worth a first round pick. I don't think anybody's really worth top 10. That's all. Again, I say any position other than quarterback, punter, and kicker should be Miami's play at 13.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead, George. Finish up.
Last point on Cam Ward is you make a great point on his mentality. I wouldn't count against the kid. I think you make a great point. That's the difference maybe of a Malik Willis. And Josh talked about when it gets messy for Tua is when he shrinks. When it gets messy for Cam Ward is when he shines. So that's the positive. He's kind of like I don't know if you guys watch baseball. Great defensive shortstop, but who makes spectacular plays with ease. But the routine ones, he could struggle sometimes. That's kind of what Cam Ward is. Like he's gonna make some high plays, and then he'll have some things where it makes you think, oh wow, this is a 4th round quarterback. But he'll do some things with his arm talent that you just watch him spin it, throwing it. It's the way it comes off, the velocity. It's incredible. Again, I think we said it best. It's the best. He's the best of a bad quarterback group. But again, I think he merits to be somewhere in the back half of the first round, and I wouldn't bet against him. All those things that Josh and Bobby, you guys mentioned, I agree with.
I do have a question. Why last year did we talk about Bo Nix not being able to throw the ball deep and not being able to? All he does is check it down. And Cam Ward, you don't hear that.
It's true. Because the perception, I think, perception of the arm talent is different. I think everybody assumes a stronger arm. It's perception, it's reality sometimes. I think, but yeah, it's a great point.
Because I think Cam Ward checks it down just as much, and I love Bo Nix. Like Bo Nix was my guy last year, and I think it's the same is true for Cam Ward. He does throw it deep. He does do this, but you see a lot of those check downs. He averaged a 0.1 less than Bo Nix last year. So we need to have those conversations. I always like to think, while you can't take this element out of his game, and it's kind of like a bad thing to say, but if you did take the ability to run the ball from him, what type of quarterback is he? Is he still like that top tier guy, or do you think he kind of falls down in this draft? Like I said, you can't take away that element of running the ball.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. I mean, we take it away from Lamar Jackson. It's like
Exactly.
I think that's too big of a Yeah,
but you take it away from Lamar Jackson. He's a thrower.
Yeah.
Lamar can throw the ball. He can compete with everyone.
Yeah.
Where in this draft, if you were to take everyone's ability to run the ball, where would they stack up? Would Cam Ward still be that number one guy? He's still quarterback number one.
Probably have Sanders over him.
You take away his run. You take away his ability to extend plays, which is huge with him.
Yeah.
And you take that away. He still has a deep arm. One thing, again, he still has that dog in him. He's still, he's that leader. Again, we're already saying, though, is he a first-round pick? Again, he's a first-round pick for me. I wouldn't say he's top 5, but he's a first-round pick for me. That drops him down in the second round. I'm not a big Shedeur Sanders fan. I don't see that ability to extend plays. I don't. When I watch him, I watch multiple games, and I was looking for not just one. I watched multiple of Shedeur Sanders on film, and I was like, I wanted that pop. I wanted to be shown that this dude is the dude, because everybody's been hyping him up all year for 2 years. Shedeur Sanders. Okay, I'm finally gonna sit down and actually watch this, and I couldn't get it. I couldn't feel it. And I'd be like, I felt guilty putting a 3rd round grade on him. And that's not like saying, I'm just a right third round. No, Josh, for those who don't know, we got that, we're going based off numbers. We're like, okay, that's 6.5, 5.5, 7.5, blah, 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 blah. And it gives you that thing. And I'm like, God, did I do something wrong?
Well, the thing is, the NFL could have a 3rd round grade on Shedeur Sanders and he can go in the 1st round.
100%. 100%.
It's GMs that get into here and they're like, well, this position is just so much valuable. My number one pick is more valuable for this guy, and they take him in the 1st round. So
100%. So all right, we'll go ahead. And I just want to bring this up here. So we do a player spotlight, and edge rusher. You might not think is a need for Miami, and it really, again, this is not really about a need, but this is just about spotlighting player. But edge rusher could be a need for Miami. Again, we don't know what's going to happen with Bradley Chubb. Jalen Phillips can't stay healthy. And I love Jalen Phillips. We drafted Chop last year. So someone who's really done himself a lot of favors this offseason is a Mike Green. I don't know if I have his numbers in front of me. I'll pull them up, but I do have some of my notes here, if I can get it out of my way. But 6'4", 248 pounds. What he was able to do in the Senior Bowl really popped a lot of eyes for everyone. I do have a 1st round grade on him, but one thing that jumps out to me with Mike Green, his motor, that's, again, Josh, this, George, you're about to, I'm big on the motors. I don't want to see quit. I don't want to see you walking down the field when a play is still alive. I want you running. I want you trying to make a move. If a play's on that side of the field, you're running down there to go try to finish that play off. That's what this guy has. Quick off the snap, explosive, high-skilled pass rusher. Definitely needs to bulk up. Look like he would get stuck with bigger offensive linemen. If it's a bigger guy, which obviously they are, but I'm talking about the real, like the ones that jump off at you, he would it's like running into a wall. It seemed like he would get stuck and they would anchor down. And limited play time. Let me just put this up very quick because I want to touch on his numbers if I could. I don't know. Did see here.
Sack numbers, he had 17.
So he had 81 total tackles, 38 solo tackles, 17 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 2 pass deflections. So, and that was last year. And again, it's limited because he played. He didn't really play in 2021. He played the year before. He only had 4.5 sacks. But you look at those numbers, and then you see what he did at the Senior Bowl, and then when you watch the film, this guy is easily, again, I have a 1st round grade. He's going to be there. I think he will be taken in the 1st round. I wouldn't say he's, I'm not going to say top 10, top 15, whatever. It could happen. But I really like what I saw from him. And again, I wouldn't sleep for an edge rusher for Miami at any point in the draft just because we know how Mike McDaniel feels about edge rushers. He said it loud and clear before. Again, I don't see Miami doing it in the 1st round, but I could see it possibly going down in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, whenever. But George, I know you watch guys. And you've followed the Senior Bowl. But do you have any thoughts on Mike Green? Have you got a chance to see him at all?
I believe was Mike Green. I think if he transferred out of Virginia after 1 year to Marshall, what comes to him is production. This 1 year, he's got a lot of tools in the pass rush in his belt. I mean, he is a specialist. He's quick off the ball, really quick twitch. Play strength was a concern, but I'll tell you what I liked. He didn't run in the combine, but he did 28 reps on the 225. Now, there's some things I don't look at, but that tells me the overall raw strength and power he has. I believe what did he weigh in at the combine? 6'3", 251. Yeah. So, but when you talk about him, you talk about the ability off the snap. I mean, he has the power explode. I mean, he struggles at times, like you mentioned it, when the bigger linemen get their hands on him, and if they can kind of hard for him to break off and shed. But man, the burst, the skills. He's just, you said high motor. He just has so many pass rush moves that he can pull out of his bag. It's impressive. And let me tell you, 13 to 15, I think that's the range he's living in right now. Don't be surprised if he's in that 10 to 15 range, because when somebody gets 17 leads college football, has that kind of physical traits, does well in the Senior Bowl, puts up 28 reps in the combine. If this guy runs under 4.6 on his pro day, which I think he probably will, I think this is a guy who's rising up boards and is somebody who be there around the range of the Dolphins. I don't think they'll do it, but yeah, don't be hesitant, Bobby, to say he's a top 15 guy, because I think it's a very good chance he's in that top 15. I like him a lot.
There you go, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had the opportunity to watch him, but his size is perfect for this defense. I really want to get some time, but as Scotty said, there's some issues around why he left Virginia, so that is definitely going to have to be taken in consideration, because that could drop him down a little bit more. The guy that I'm curious about, and not to spin it off of Green here,
no, go for it, man.
Where does Carter fall now that we have this foot injury that's going to be huge? It might not be, but I'm curious if he does fall, because let's be honest, Michael Williams isn't too far off.
Yeah, he's good, man. He's
so
good.
I'd say swap?
I'd say the floor for Abdul is probably 5. Jacksonville would be my guess. But yeah, I like a lot of these. I like the linebacker out of Alabama. We're talking about positional value. Like you couldn't argue with me that at 13, his name's slipping me. I don't know why, but he's not the best pure football player on the board at 13. Not to get off my green, but like, it's just, I agree with you. Like, there's not much difference.
There's a stack here.
Yeah.
And it's who does these teams like better?
What flavor of ice cream do you like?
Yep.
You know?
So, for sure. And
now I want ice cream. Want ice cream.
What's your favorite flavor of ice cream, Bobby? Cookies and cream.
Dude. Man, you cannot beat. First off, there's all different. You got mint chocolate chip, you got coffee.
Yeah.
Those are like the fun ones. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll have one of those. But and sherbet's cool. But you know what? A nice vanilla ice cream with chocolate syrup every day.
Right?
Vanilla
dude.
Bean. How about sprinkles?
Breyer's vanilla bean,
man. Sprinkles, a soft cone from Dairy Queen with the sprinkles on it. I still go to that. The pure vanilla.
If you guys are ever in Franklin, Tennessee, I'll treat you to this. We got a nice little town square, and you got a little like a candy shop. It's perfect. Cookie dough's good. I'm cool with those, but I'm just saying, like,
the ice creams. Who's number one? Who's going 1-1?
Right. We'll tell you who's the first round pick on ice cream. Look, here comes Josh. Josh is researching it. Here we go.
Oh, it's a special thing. I got to remember what it is. I think it's Vienna Mocha Chunk from Friendlies.
Oh, that's fancy. That's fancy.
Yeah.
It's top tier. Like,
you're going
really?
BPA, you're going BPA there, huh? You're going BPA.
Yeah. Vienna Mocha Chunk.
We're going for need. We're going vanilla. We're going for positional need here.
Yeah. Well, the vanilla probably coach's son. Plays hard.
Cam Smith, his son plays on the team with him.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
We went from Mike Green to
ice cream. Yeah, we went to ice cream. I don't know how we got
if you can go and find Friendly's Vienna Mocha Chunk, you'll understand.
That's awesome.
I didn't know Starbucks sold ice cream.
Who is that in this draft? Who's that ice cream in this draft for you, I guess?
See, I haven't seen enough players to have that opinion.
You held that to a high standard.
I hold that, yeah. That
is out of this world.
That is Brock Bowers last year for me.
Oh, okay.
Braden Fisk. That would be last year. Braden Fisk.
Yeah, Braden
I'll
Fisk.
die on that hill, man.
Braden Fisk. Yeah,
That
boy,
was
what a
my
draft
dude,
day!
man.
What a draft they had, man.
Oh, dude. I mean,
I like
going on
what
first.
Jacksonville's doing off with their. I know people don't like that coach because that comment. I like the coach's attitude, and I like
Duval. He didn't do it again. They asked him, "You want to do it again?" He's like, "Nah, I'm good."
You can tell he's got a little swag to him. He'll relate with the players, and
oh, dude, yeah.
And that GM comes from the Rams. I think
I'm rooting for him because obviously what happened with Tampa Bay, they're rooting for him to lose. So I'm hoping, after all that he does well.
Yeah.
But let's get into
all right. Get the show back on track, Bobby.
Yeah. What happened here? So now let's get into the war room. And if you guys, for those who are familiar, for those who aren't, the war room is a little different. On other shows or whatever, you may see people, oh, you get a turn, I get a turn, we all get a turn, and we see who's the best one. Here it's different. On the war room, we go to the simulator. We let the simulator play out. We're on the board. The Dolphins are on the board, and we all together decide the best move forward in the draft. And again, we may see a player, and I may go, "Oh, dude, he's on the board. I really like him." And George, you might come in and go, "Bobby, I love him, but dude, this dude's sitting right here. And look, we could possibly get that guy later on." Josh is great with asking the question. Go, "Yeah, but do we think he will be there in 5 more picks?" And it's like, oh, damn, okay.
Are we doing trade? No trades, right? Just
trades.
Trades. You got to go with the trade call. You got to go with the call.
Okay. We're in the draft.
That's what it is.
I've done a few of them. I've done a few of them. I know.
Yeah. So
I always get a bunch of
picks.
Here?
Do I still have it here? The sound
also,
effect? This was Josh last year.
News.
Josh.
There's breaking news that happened. ESPN notified us.
Breaking news?
There was breaking news somewhere. Someone had an ESPN notification go off in the background.
Is there?
I don't know. I heard a ESPN. Dun-dun-dun.
No, I didn't hear that. I put the phone.
I don't have any ESPN. I mean, I have ESPN alerts on my.
Oh, that's someone calling for a trade.
That's a trade call. That's a trade call. So, that's so great. We're like, wait, is there breaking news? We're gonna have a breaking news right here while we're live.
I thought right as you started.
If you're a Panthers fan, Matthew Chuck went on the long-term IR. So
I thought right as you started, Bobby, I heard like a phone or the ESPN app notification go off.
Dolphins trade for Jonathan Allen.
The breaking news is John Cena turning heel last night. That's the breaking news for wrestling fans.
Weren't you guys talking about that? You and Kimball talking about that before that even happened?
Yeah, we were just there was different things. Yeah, we were discussing. And
Bobby,
it was my wife came running.
People got it wrong with you. Not Dolphins. You want wrestling content? That's Bob. That's where Bobby lives, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously, George, everybody jokes about this, but yeah, we cover everything here on FTO. We try to, man. But no, man. I watched it with my son, and my wife came running in the room because I was like, that's when I love that wrestling, when it's like it shocks you, or it's like you get excited, And that was when that happened. I was like, oh my gosh, my son and I were. Oh, so my wife, what happened? We were watching it on my phone because we were playing Xbox together, and so we were watching on my phone. But let me go ahead and make the screen a little bigger, and forgive me if I don't see your comments. We will. Josh has eyes on it, I'm sure. But so we'll make it fast. So it'll be fast. We won't see too many of the picks as it goes through in regards to other people's picks. But yeah, we do include trades. We do entertain it, okay? And we won't drown in it, but like trade after trade after trade after trade. But if it's a trade, you got to consider because again, people love to say Dolphins have way too many needs. Now we don't know. What's crazy is free agency is going to mean something here. So we're just going to roll with it. And this is George's first time doing this with us, so he'll have fun. And don't be shy, George. Ask questions, man.
No. I'm
Let's
excited
do
about this.
All right, so we're gonna enter the draft. Obviously, Miami with number 13. Cam Ward goes number 1. So all the haters out there. So let me go ahead and I'm gonna hide this first.
Ooh.
So we're at 13 right now. Okay, and this is how the draft has fallen so far for Miami. There goes Michael Williams right there. Edge rusher. He's on the board. Josh, I know how much you love him. Tyler Warren, Penn State tight end, is on there. James Pierce, Calvin Banks. Membo is on there, Missouri offensive lineman, and Luther Burden. I will say again, this all falls on Tyreek Hill. What happens with Tyreek? Because obviously the big thing is wanting that big-bodied wide receiver, and when you look at Luther Burden, you don't see that, right? You go, man, he's I'm done with all these. It doesn't matter if you're done with it. The problem is, let me tell you something. First off, Luther plays way bigger than his size. He reminds me a lot of Anquan Bolden, the way he plays. And I like Luther Burden, and I wouldn't sleep on this pick if it's Tyreek is gone at that point.
Great after the catch. He's great.
100%, dude. And we know how much Mike McDaniel
He's
loves
like a running
that.
back almost. Yeah,
he does, man. 1,000%. He's a yak machine, and he plays big. So, but there's a lot of good players at this pick. So very quick, before we look at the trades, we got to peek at one. But before we look at the trades, George, I'm gonna start off with you, my man, and then Josh, you follow up. What player jumps out at you? Like if we say we're staying at 13, who would you jump on?
I think the question here is how much highly rated do we have Mikael Williams versus a Banks or a Membo? I think those are the guys I'd probably look at here. But I've already saw a trade, and I think I'm willing to take that first trade.
Ignore the trade. Ignore it.
But I think us three have to ask ourselves, how high is Williams? Because I think Williams probably, for me, along with Banks and Membo, are the three guys I'd consider here with that outside of Emmanwori. How much do we have? Is it willing to move down a spot or two and lose out on Williams? Is that the question I think we have to ask ourselves? And I'll ask you guys that.
Josh?
Yeah, I agree with those names. I haven't watched Membo before, so I'm curious of what you guys see in him.
I think there's a lot of Zach Tom in him.
Okay.
Really athletic, versatile, can play tackle, guard. Probably the most athletic guy in this class.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree. Like Mikael Williams is catching my eye, but if we're looking at this, who's going to be more valuable day one? I think it's going to be one of those tackles. But I'm not against looking at a trade back if it's not far.
Agreed.
Yeah, because there's a lot of good players here that you really don't want to miss out on at that point. But I will say again, when you look at these two tackles, Calvin Banks, one of them, one thing that I love about him is the versatility. You move him out the guard, you can play him at that spot, and then guess what? You just killed two birds with one stone. Mikael Williams being there, you can't ignore that. James Pierce has had a very good combo.
Where's Kenneth Grant on this list?
Where's who?
Kenneth Grant. Is he down the list?
I assume he will be. Yeah. He's usually in that second round. Yeah, he's there. Yeah. He's about the 30th ranked. And again, here's the thing. That's their draft board. Yeah. That's not yours. You know what I'm saying? Now you could say, man, Kenneth Grant, I would not miss out on him. That's fine. So
I think we got to add that name, to the mix there.
Once we're done with our initial grades, that's when we'll start using our board. Yeah. And Josh will come up with posting that up so people see it as we're doing this, and that way we know, because we do want to do that guide and get that out before the draft so that way people have it. And but anyways, let's go ahead and look at these trades and see what we got. So there's two trade offers, and this one, again, that is very tough to pass up on. Why? You're only trading down two spots. You're still going to get a quality player, but guess what? You're trading up from 98 to 46 now. That's the bread and butter. Yeah. That's the selling point. You're cooking with bacon grease at that point. You know what I'm saying? So,
and I would also consider long term. We can take that. Ooh,
George, what do you got it?
No, I'm saying the first trade, like 46. I would even try to move one of those back to get that, because that gap we would have 45 and 46, and we wouldn't pick again to the fourth round. So like I would take that ammo of that extra second we got and move back a little bit, maybe move back to the 60s or 50s and pick up an extra fourth. This one's interesting. I don't know if I want to move back 32. I can still get a good offensive or defensive tackle at 32. I'm closing the gap of 48 to 98 with pick 64, and I'm picking up a Philadelphia second. Mm-hmm. And we're getting 96. That's a good deal.
I'm looking at the trade value right now.
Yeah.
You have this is what I love about Josh, man. He will, and he'll give you those numbers. Like, is this worth it?
What do you think, Bobby?
4.
So the killer for me, I like both of these trades. I love this because you get that you got that middle pick, and you got that 96. You add 96 to that. And but it's just a 32 going
a
from
little too
13
far
to 30,
back for me. I agree with that.
Because again, when you have a player like Pierce, Williams, Banks, Membo sitting there,
So
it's hard to.
So what do we think the difference is of Banks and Membu from Savanai, Dominic Jackson, Josh Simmons, a natural tackle? I mean,
Well, Savin, remember, Jonah Savin, that dude for me is, I'll butcher his name. I butcher names all the time.
Yeah, there's a lot of these guys in this draft. You're going to butcher names.
Yeah, I'm horrible at names, but I like him a lot, and I'm comfortable with we could do the trade down, and I know there'll be a player that we could grab.
Right. How much do we feel different on those guys?
Just to give the value on the trade value, we're leaving a 4th round pick, the 119th overall pick on the table in point differential. So if I am looking at the Philadelphia trade, I'm countering and trying to get a 4th round pick in addition. But yeah,
do we want to? Would we explore that? Would adding a 4th round pick would that say we're comfortable with the drop down now?
If we're not looking in a bubble, I think
that's what we got to do. Are we comfortable with the prospect difference at 13 and 32? I think that
you're getting a lot of players in the top 100.
We got to add something to that. What about the first trade? How does that look on the value chart, Josh?
So 15. I feel like this one's going to be good.
I feel like we're actually in the moment. This is why we need like 10 minutes.
This is, man. This is what this is. And you're gonna have people in the comments not liking the decision we're gonna make, whatever that make. It happens all the time.
Yeah, Scott says Savinon's a guard only. Yeah,
we're getting.
I don't mind. Oh, go ahead.
We're getting like a value of like a 3rd round pick in this.
I like this trade better.
I do, and I know there's still that drop off there, but again, you're getting 2 picks in that top 50 now, and I love that. I'm okay with the drop down at that point because you're getting a quality player.
Yeah, Josh got something else going on.
My thought, if we're not looking in the bubble of this year, like you're getting a 2nd round pick to potentially go up and get a quarterback next year if you need to. You're also getting.
I forgot about the second because I'm not thinking about next year. Yeah, that's true.
You're also getting a 1-2 additional picks within the top 100. Yeah. If we can counter, if we counter it, will it take away this trade if they decline it?
No.
All right, so
if we counter this with a 4th.
Yeah, let's see what happens. It'll accept it automatically, though, right?
I don't know.
Yes. So, a 4th next year or one of these?
I think either a 3rd next year or a 4th this year.
Okay.
Yeah, we have 2 4s this year.
All right. Is that that's 129, right?
Yeah, it's a 4th round pick, late 4th.
All right.
They declined it. Okay.
So let's go back. And you said a 3rd or maybe a 3rd next year, right?
3rd next year would be a value of a 4th.
Okay.
Yeah, none of these 2 later,
these 2 picks you don't care for.
Those are 5th. Those are probably.
I mean, I'm fine with it. Like if I'm getting all these picks, I'm willing to give up a little bit.
Okay.
Of value, but a 4th round pick is a lot of value on that table.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's you want to entertain the 3rd round pick for next year?
We could.
Yeah.
You sure? Because if they accept it, we
only thing I'm seeing is okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Or do you want to counter the first trade?
Counter the first one?
Yeah, maybe they add a screener of a 5th round pick or something.
We're getting.
Go ahead. Do this one, Bobby. Do this one. Are you okay? If you guys are in agreement with it, do this one.
No. I'm just saying we're getting a lot of value in that first one. So there's not much we can counter with that. But I mean, I'm down for accepting and getting a top tier player or whatever we want to do.
Bobby, what's your vote?
I'm down to make the trade just because I just want to see how it goes down.
Okay,
because it's all these different scenarios.
Let's do it. Oh,
bam,
accepted.
We got 2 picks next year for what Josh brought up is a in a move where you might have to move up to get a quarterback in a better quarterback class. Yeah. Now here you look at this. Look at this. Look where you're at now in this thing, right? So
it's clear.
You're at 32. You got the 32nd pick. Kenneth Grant is sitting there. Xavier Watts, the safety out of Notre Dame, who I like a lot. Harold Fannin Jr., tight end, I love. Shamir Stewart, who did really well and now is popping a lot of eyes. So there are some very good players. Jahaid Campbell, who George you just brought up, I believe, the linebacker out of Alabama.
Boy,
So
I'm begging. I'm firing me if we don't take Kenneth Grant. I'm pulling your Chris Greer. Fire me if we're not taking Kenneth Grant.
Nick Amonwori
Oh,
almost made it to us.
yeah,
almost.
If he was there, that's a
Mike
Buffalo
Green was almost sitting there at 32,
Walter
and that way
Nolan.
you can't pass up. But George is banging the table for Kenneth Grant, right? Is that where you are, George? Everyone else,
I'm there. I'm there. You guys can convince me. There's other. I'm open. I'm open to Campbell.
I got you, bro. I got
I'm
you.
open.
I'm with you. Josh, what are your thoughts, man?
I mean, the only thing I will say is a Michigan defensive tackle. There's history around that, but I'm not deep enough into the bag of video to have an opinion either way. If you love them, if you're beating the table for them, I'm down for the player. So I'm going to leave it up to you two to argue it. I'll be the one that comes through with some, well, what about this?
Okay. All right, so let's look at the other options. Give me some guys you like.
Well, right away, I mean, obviously, you think of offensive linemen. We can take a look at who's available right now in offensive line.
Archery.
You know, there's Jonah. Jonah's sitting right there. Gray Zabel's sitting right there. But again, maybe they might be there with that second pick.
It's hard for me because I don't think this is how it's going to turn out.
I will say you get a nose tackle in this defensive line, and it's stacked.
I agree. Well, but at 330, that moves like him, that can play nose, 3-tech. I mean,
I like Shamir Stewart. I like him a lot. I like Kenneth Grant too. So I mean,
who's your guy, Bobby, here that you say, okay, let's go? I mean, I'm open to listen to that.
Honestly, again, it sucks because we want to know what happens to Frazier. Because if Calais Campbell comes back and you got Zach Sealer, then that you could explore that.
It's hard.
It is
because he's a demeanor changer. He's a culture change. He changes the demeanor of your interior of your defensive line. He's sort of like what you see in Philadelphia. These big, violent, physical guys that can move. We don't have that. I think he changes. You can't change it in one off season, but like Kenneth Grant on the defensive side of the ball is a tone changer for me. But I mean, you can make an argument for Watts. You can make an argument for Shamar Stewart. I mean, Omarion Hampton might be the best player there. He's so special.
And we know we saw the visible satisfaction of Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
So I mean, but it is a tough decision.
Campbell,
and let me again, I'm not sleeping on Harold Fannin Jr. I love Harold Fannin Jr. I'm a very big fan.
I think too. And he didn't test well, but I'm not buying it. Look, put on the tape, man.
Yeah, exactly. No, watch the film, bro. Yeah. Watch the film. You know what though? I'm okay with making this pick with Kenneth Grant. Because first off, I like Kenneth Grant, but also just your determination about what you're saying about him. And we could use some nastiness on our defensive line because look, Josh, you brought this up not too long ago, but with Miami, what they've done with their draft, you go into Miami getting Chop Robinson. You see what's going on with Bradley Chubb. The year before, they get oh my goodness, who's the tackle that we just drafted? Patrick Paul. When you look up what's going on with Terron Armstead. So you go Kenneth Grant. Even if Calais Campbell comes back, Kenneth Grant could take that role after, and he can make an immediate impact. So
I'm looking at the comments. Anthony says he wants Loveland. He thinks Loveland's the best player available. I'm just not. I just tight end. Like I can get it. We got plenty of picks. You can get an Arroyo in the middle of this draft.
Yeah, and again, if I'm going tight end, I'm going Harold Fannin. But
how does Loveland block? Like I'm going to stick to this through and through. Like Miami needs a block.
He's okay, but his strength is pass catching. He runs the route trees. Like
you got someone like that.
Yeah, agreed. You want more of an all around.
Fannin is a willing and very good blocker. I like.
Well, here's the one thing I will say. A few years back, Anthony Weaver, Baltimore, they went out and got Travis Jones. He did he was pivotal to that defensive moving forward, becoming one of the best defenses in the league. Could Kenneth Grant do that? Is he going to be looking at, this is just the piece that I need to get over the top and becoming a top 5 defense in the NFL?
I think he'll, and also you got to look. He played with Mason Graham, so look how they complemented each other.
Make your case for Stewart. Make your case for Stewart. You keep looking at him.
Yeah, but you like Stewart, man.
Dude, I just love what I've seen from him. The reason why I'm not really pushing, I'm very intrigued. The reason why I'm not pushing, I've seen what I've seen on the combine and other stuff. I have not really watched too much film on him, and I want to watch film before I really bang the table. And that's why even though I'm really intrigued by Stewart because he could play edge, he could play interior, versatility means a lot to me. I'm okay with Kenneth Grant because I've seen enough of him that I'm okay with making that decision, especially with George being such a proponent of it at that point.
Yeah, Anthony says, there's depth. There is depth at the defensive tackle, but not this particular guy.
Not quality, as much quality.
This guy, there's not many guys 330 plus on this planet that have the strength and physical traits that this guy does. I mean, just not. He could run the 4.8s. Like, that's how athletic he is. I actually think he ran like sub 5 at 360. His weight, I mean, it does concern me a little bit being that heavy, like down here, but I think he's a tone setter for us, man. And
I'm cool with it. I'll go Kenneth Grant here, and we'll see what happens with the next few picks that we can kind of fill everything out. It is a name, but it could be BPA at this point. So let's do it. Kenneth Grant is the first pick off the board for the Miami Dolphins. So we'll go ahead and hide that. And
my God,
so right here
we're taking a quarterback next year.
Yeah, that's right. So at this point in time, you're at pick 48. You got 64. Look at that. Look at this. Look at this. So here's the thing. Okay, Gray's able here at 48. I mean, the 48 best player. Again, guard, tackle, you can do it all. Shamir Stewart is sitting there, and again, you think about the edge rusher position and the love for what Mike McDaniel has for it, and what you think about that defense. What happens with Bradley Chubb? Do they restructure? Do they move on? Can he last the season? Jalen Phillips, can he last the season? Or we're going to have the same situation we had last year where we're kind of like rotating in and out guys, and we're going to have to fill some guys off the street. Stewart cannot be ignored here. I would not ignore him. I was going crazy for him, maybe at 32. Again, I have to watch more film, but I'm not ignoring it. But again, then you think about O-line. What's going on? I think Miami signs a veteran offensive lineman, but here you could possibly go offensive guard here. And then you're set at offensive line possibly. Oh gosh, Millen is there as well from West Virginia.
What are you thinking of? What do you have your eyes on here?
I mean,
there's 4 guys I'm looking at.
Stewart is. I mean, Zabel, Stewart are the ones that I'm looking at. There's
me too.
I'm sure there's a guard in here that I would absolutely love.
I mean, Campbell might be the best football player of all of them, pure football player. But I don't know if we're doing linebacker. But man, you go Campbell and Grant. I mean, I like Schlesinger from UCLA. That's my kind of dream scenario. Grant and him is kind of like the old days. But like you go Grant and Campbell up the middle of your defense. Boy,
I did a quick just overview look at one of the draft websites of Shamar Stewart.
Yeah, and
they said athletically reminds us of Myles Garrett, and it's just like, ugh.
Done. I'm done, bro. That's it. No, that's it.
Stewart, Milam. I'd probably go Milam over Zabel, but it'd be between of those two guys.
Who are the guards available?
But look at that. Guards. Donovan Jackson, maybe being there.
Donovan Jackson is another good one.
He could possibly be there.
Is my guy still there?
Which one?
No.
Ratledge is still there. You could.
He's
a wrestler, right?
I know you love Ratledge, man. You have a first round grade on him. Fairchild is there. That's why again,
what pick do we have after this?
We have
64.
I think Rutledge would be. He might not.
I mean, in this scenario, he will be there.
He'll be there in this scenario, but again, based off your board, you're getting him right now.
Look, you guys have a conviction on Shamar Stewart. I like the traits. I think he's what I call a lobby player. He looks the part.
But there's value there as well.
There's some, again, I'm going to learn from Chop, though. There is some production issues there with him. But, like, I think his ceiling might be a little too high for us to pass up. If you guys really had a conviction on him, I'm willing to – we went Grant here. If you guys want to go Stewart, I'm on board. The linemen are good, though, man. We're passing up 2 really good offensive linemen, though.
And we are. And, again, that's with the idea that Miami had maybe signed one in free agency, but now you need to get another one to pair up on the right side. So
we could be moving.
You got to hope that one of those guys are going to be there later. Now, again,
are we moving off Chubb? That's another question. If we're moving off Chubb,
that's what I'm saying. That's the idea, right? Because, well, you have to think about it. If we restructured Bradley Chubb, even if you restructured him, does he last the season? Jalen Phillips, 2 years in a row, cannot complete a season as great as he is. And guess what? He's going to go into a contract year pretty soon. So you need to think about that, because even though you drafted Chop last year with the first pick, you might not have these guys in 2 years or next season.
What's available guards or offensive line, the best available, Bobby?
So
Donovan Jackson's there. Oh, Donovan Jackson's there. Go to
guard. Here, guard.
Donovan Jackson, yeah.
And Ratledge and Fairchild, which again we like a lot, and you get, but in the reality, I don't know if you probably have to get them at this point, but in this draft they should be available in those later picks. But I'm really okay going Zabel.
The chat is asking about safety.
That's fair.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, this draft, if you didn't get, it's very light on safety, and the top guys for me are gone. There's too many good players at other positions.
Yeah, and I'll say again, the one I'm looking at maybe later, and I'm going to watch more of them. I haven't gotten to them yet, but I'm with you. I think at this point, there's too many other good players that, we're not going to reach for a safety just because you might need a safety. We don't know what Miami did in free agency at this point, but Sebastian Castro, who's rated 109 here, I'm cool with him, maybe targeting him later on with an additional pick, but I'm not going to force myself to take a safety just because you need a safety.
I guess I'm in between. The thing about Milam is the tackle versatility. So I'm probably, as more I think about it, I'd probably go Zabel as I thought about it more and more. I'm between Stewart, Zabel, and I still will look at Campbell as the best player, like football player, maybe the best one still there. So I'd go Stewart, Zabel.
Is he going to be interior linebacker for you guys?
Yes. Mike?
I mean, if he's the best football player, I mean, we're all for BPA. Why? Like, would he be one immediate starter?
I think the best player available here is Stewart or Campbell. I mean, how they have it, I agree with. Like, they're bored here. I think the issue with Campbell is, I mean, let's pull up what he ran just to show the athletic profile. He did, what did he run? 4.52, 10.7 broad jump, 1.53 split. Just, I mean, he's your classic Alabama linebacker. Classic. And, we've seen them all come out. Athletic, physical. There will be some times, like, when I watch a few – I haven't done a ton on him, but, like, just knowing from watching in the season, like, instinctually there's some things that sometimes I question, but more than not, he's just a playmaker at that position. But it's tough. I could go either way here.
Oh, man.
Bobby? This one is a tough pick, man.
This is a tough pick because there's a little bit of not a drop off, but one of those guys are not going to be there.
How comfortable with the linebacker room we have now, besides Jordan Brooks?
You're never comfortable with the linebacker room. I just can't. I don't have the conviction for Campbell just because I haven't watched him yet.
Okay,
so that's why.
Stuart, you both have conviction now, correct?
What I've seen, I haven't seen that. I'm gonna watch. I got to watch his film. But what I've seen in this offseason process, I've liked what I've seen. I like his numbers. I like what I've seen when he's done the pro. But for me, because I haven't watched film, I'm going to go Zabel here. I'd go Zabel at this point.
Josh,
like I said, I'm just here to make us think differently. Zabel, I haven't really watched. What are we thinking on him? Is he?
Let's do this. So I guess it's like me to kind of either agree with Bobby or keep this going. Bobby, we'll do Zabel because we'll set the tone on both sides of the line in our draft. He won't be available. Let's do Greg Zabel. I like what I've seen in the Senior Bowl and all that. He's a nasty guy, and I think it sets the tone for us.
Are we seeing him as a guard?
Guard, yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, so now here at 64,
boy,
Krishan Jadkins is still there.
Do we got our tight end?
Mason Taylor is sitting there right now. Mason Taylor, we talk about legacy pick, but also the work he's done this offseason, what he's done in the combine, what he's done in the Senior Bowl. Miami needs a tight end. I know what Josh is going to ask. Can he block?
I think he's willing. He's a willing. That's all you can ask for. Are they willing blockers?
I agree.
Well, here it is. This is what Pro Football Network says. He's a well-rounded tight end with blended athleticism, size, football IQ that allows him to contribute as both a receiver and a blocker. He's a willing blocker, an effective blocker.
I think we don't take a lot of time. I think we take Mason Taylor. That's my. But to look at it, I love Savion Williams, man. Oh, 6'5" receiver. Oh, I love Savion Williams. 6'3", but
interesting though, Josh.
Yeah.
I'm interested. What else is on this list other than like this?
PJ, I mean, we took our defensive tackle. Walker is a high upside guy, but thin lower half. If you watch him, I look at body types. I'm a huge guy who looks at body types when I scout. I know some people could find that weird, but people do that.
No.
Thin lower half, but great. He didn't jump well, but huge man. We already got our guy there. Edge, nothing. I'd say it's probably Alfred Collins, another good defense. Who's the running back? Just quickly on the running back position.
Judkins.
Oh, Judkins, man. Yeah, Judkins is an animal.
Scatterbo.
If we want to continue with redoing our offense and being more physical, Judkins is a guy at 220 plus that I think ran sub 4.5, ran 4.47, seeks contact. He's one of those guys that we don't have in the room. I'm going to go Mason Taylor or Judkins here. Either I'm debating between those two guys.
I think you probably get. First off, I am banging the table for a ground and pound thumper at running back to pair him with Wright and Achin. I'm all about it, but I think I could get one later. And you're thinking of a name. You got the name.
Yeah.
And there's another one there.
This guy's better though. I think this guy is better.
I get that. I get that. Well, go ahead.
A starter.
Does he need to be a starter?
I think he's tight end too with is he a starter with Jonnu Smith? I don't know if he gets more snaps than we have. Look, we don't have Durham Smythe. We don't have
Durham Smythe got cut. He's gone. Are you going to trust Julian Hill? You know, this is,
and he might get more snaps than Jonnu Smith actually because of what he
can offer.
More physicality and more willingness to block. It's between Judkins and Taylor for me. Josh, any bounce back or any pushback?
No, I don't have any pushback. It's just I'm in the top 100. I want to be able to get someone that's going to be significant playing time on my team within this.
I like
area.
the idea. Judkins is a beast, dude.
With the running back, it's the same thing as the receiver, as the tight end. You know, you already got two guys. I don't even say Jalen Wright, but Devon H and Jonnu Smith are your 1-2 guys at those positions. These are guys that are going to be the rotational guys. For me, Julian Hill and Durham Smythe got a lot of playing time last year with Jonnu. And that's why one got cut and the other one I don't trust, because when they had the opportunity to make the plays, they didn't show up. They were lackluster.
Who are the receivers available?
If Miami takes a Mason Taylor, yes, I do believe he's going to be very involved in next year's offense. Okay. He will have enough playtime to justify picking him here at 64. Who's that wide receiver? Restrepo, your guy.
Anthony in the chat saying we need to draft the safety out of Texas. We need safety.
Savion Williams.
I just don't like the safety class. I want to go with the strengths of this draft. I always believe in drafting on the strengths of the draft. You can
go, Anthony in the comments. Don't do me a favor. Don't just say why we should draft him. No, don't say who we should draft. Tell us why we should take the safety. What's great about the safety from Texas? So that way we could see maybe your point of view. Don't just say, oh, we have to, because my assumption is when you're saying, oh, you have to take the safety, is we got to take a safety because we have to take a safety. No, if you're telling me why, like, dude, man, this guy's, if you look at his numbers, you look at this play, he fits this offense or this defense, then I was like, okay, let's consider him. But for me, I'm with George. I'm not going to take it just because he's a safety. Again, I'm looking at Castro later on, Jalen Reed,
Billy Bowman
out of Oklahoma. That's another one.
Good.
So, but anyway,
you know,
Josh,
guys.
Josh, you could be the deal. You could let us know where we're going here.
I'm going to say Mason Taylor.
Okay.
Well, there you go, Mason Taylor. One, George, got you one.
I like both of them. I'll take either one. I'm fine with that.
Got your ass. No, I'm just playing. All right. Ooh. So
I'm not.
No, we're not looking at these and shit. I'm rejecting.
They really love to give these 26 picks up in this.
I'm saying, dude.
Like we could get the number one quarterback in next year's draft if we wanted to.
That's right. Yeah, we're golden, man.
Yeah.
All right, so here we are. Let me go ahead and look at what we've done. We got 96 and 98, so we got 2 picks coming up here, right next to each other. But Kenneth Grant, Gray Zabel, and Mason Taylor. So defensive line, offensive line, Mason Taylor.
Boy, Arroyo's sitting there. Huh?
Arroyo's sitting there.
Scottabo.
With Cornelius out of Oregon.
I just don't. Yeah, I don't know what he's. I mean, he's hard to deal with, but I don't know if he's more than a short yardage guy. I don't know. I'm confused. I had to watch more on him, to be honest. He's perplexing to me to evaluate. No, your guy Will Howard's there. We need quarterback too.
Yeah.
But is that a little high for him? Where are we at?
I don't feel comfortable taking Scottabo in the top 100.
Yeah,
no, me neither.
Me neither.
Or Scottabo, I meant Will Howard.
Either one. Go to. Let me see the running back position overall. No.
Tutton's there.
I think this draft is not going to be the speed draft. Like, I think they're going to go guys. You won't see the fastest guy in the draft go to the Dolphins this year.
Ollie Gordon, Damian Martinez. That's where I'm at with those two guys. I'm looking at them, and that's 4th round.
Fourth round.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying right now. I'm not saying now. I'm just saying I'm okay waiting on a running back.
Let's see the backup quarterback for the backup quarterback position. Quinn Ewers, Will House, Dylan Gabriel. Brother. I'm not ready to pull the trigger on any of those guys. They're all kind of similar to me. Unless you guys have a different opinion. Safety.
So,
corner.
Did I watch him yet? Let me go ahead. I'm going to put corner up on here, but I got to check on something.
Ooh, Strong is good.
Let me see.
Dorian Strong.
Who are you looking for?
Dorian Strong.
Antoine. Okay, I haven't put a grade on him yet. From Virginia Tech, Antoine Powell Ryland. He's someone I'm intrigued by. I don't have a grade on him yet.
Kobe Bryant's making some
Kobe
names.
Bryant.
Yeah, he's been in the media here a lot lately. I've been trying, and I've been saying this each week, trying to keep myself out of the media and out of the hype around these players.
Yep.
Yeah, the group think,
Kobe Bryant is someone that just keeps popping off on Twitter. I'm trying to eliminate it, but he's
how did he test? Let's see how he tested yesterday. Anyways, Kobe Bryant.
He's got a cool name too.
He ran 4.53.
Right.
6 foot 180. He ran 4.53. I mean, that's not everything.
But let me just say, think about it. When he makes every time we play basketball,
guy.
You know when you go to shoot, you go Kobe. Can you imagine like when you're watching Dolphins football and you got to intercept Kobe? You know what I mean? Like I'm going to draft him just for that. And first off, let me just say this.
And then get the other Kobe Bryant on the other side. And
that's right, 100%. Miami needs a corner. They have a need at corner, and we.
I like Strong a little more, but
that's fine. I think Strong is
smaller.
I'm cool with it. With one of these 2 picks going in the secondary, obviously I know Anthony's talking about safety. Billy Bowman's Castro are sitting right there. Will they be available? One of those 2 guys be available at the next pick, which is 109. I mean, not 109, excuse me, 115. So do we go corner and safety here?
Is Kobe Bryant someone that plays the nickel, but then could also be someone that goes and plays safety,
He's
or eventually be a
no,
safety?
he's a little light for a safety. I think he's about what is he? Kobe's about 180. I think he's a buck 80, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 180. Yeah, he's an outside. He's like he's real competitive. He's a little grabby. Not the fastest guy, but he's got length. He's just a guy who's going to compete. He's a good third, fourth round pick. Like there's nothing wrong with Kobe Bryant in the third or the fourth round, especially where we're at. I like Porter a little more, but that's just me. I mean, it's not the difference is not much, And if Bobby wants to do the name, we do the name.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Again, Strong is I haven't really watched them to justify taking him. Again, I would double dip on offensive line and go safety, Castro or oh my
double.
God,
You mean take a lineman here?
I would go
Let's see
Cornelius.
who's available.
I would probably go Cornelius here, and then go with whoever's the safety remaining. But you got Cornelius, you got Belton, you got Ozzie.
I would actually go Charles Grant.
You got Luke Kendra.
Small
you got
school guy with big time tackle upside. Big upside. I mean, he's a guy who can take over and he can play guard. He's a little light. I will admit that.
Yeah.
Take a look at the UConn kid, Lunt.
Yeah, massive. Massive.
He's intriguing, man. He's intriguing. I've always been intrigued by him with his height. You like Cornelius? We go. I'm not. Let me see Cornelius' card again. I haven't watched much Cornelius,
sorry.
so I haven't watched much Cornelius. So yeah, he's got a little more size to him. I'm fine with either one of those guys. You want to do that? I would go Bowman if I was going to go. I wouldn't go to the corner position. I'd go Bowman, or I'd go one of those three linemen that we mentioned. Bowman's small, but he's a Swiss Army knife, man.
All right, Josh, lead the way here, man. Where are we rolling?
Yeah, where are we rolling?
Sure. You're putting it on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna say let's go get the safety first.
Let's go get Billy Bowman Jr. Or you want Castro? You got to break the tie. I'm going Bowman. He's going Castro.
Let's look. Well, sell me on him.
Go ahead, sell him on Castro.
No, man. Again, I mean, if you're looking at, you just brought up the size for Bowman. I'm cool. Again, I think safety needs to be here. Physical tackler, Billy Bowman. I like Castro. He's a little taller. He's instinctive. He's a productive player too. I don't have his numbers in front of me. But he's older. He's an older player. If I don't have anything, but he's a physical player.
I'll tell you what about Bowman here. If this guy, he's 5'10", 192. If he was like 6 foot 192, you're talking about pick 20 to 32. He's instinctive. I think, if I'm not mistaken, dude, he's had like 10 plus picks in his career. He's an instinctive player. I think there's no doubt he's a better pure football player than Castro. That's my opinion, right? Like you said, Bobby, I tell a different story. The size concerns me, but like this team lacks turnovers, and if you want turnovers, there's nobody better at that position than Billy Bowman Jr.
Bobby, he sold me on Bowman. Just when you hear playmaker, I want a ball hawk at the safety position.
The size does concern me. I agree with Bobby though.
I'm not a size guy. If there's the guy in Tampa Bay right now.
And Whitfield Jr.
5'8", yeah. Was he 5'8"?
Instincts, the eyes.
Yeah, that's what I care more about. And if if the size doesn't show up on film, then I don't care.
Yeah, if he was bigger, he'd go a lot higher. I think that's what knocking him down. He tested well too.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it, Billy Bowman. Let's roll.
4.42, Josh, at the combine.
Yeah. So there you go. So Billy Bowman, and then we go.
Anthony's happy. We got a safety.
That's right. So I would. I don't know if you guys would want to go corner here with Strong, but I'm cool with Will Howard. He's not going to be there later. If you want to go get a second quarterback, but Cornelius, so I would double dip an offensive line at this point.
Where's Cornelius fitting in this? situation? Like if you were to draft him, where are you playing him?
He's the flex tackle. Again, you don't know what's going to happen with Armstead. Who's sitting behind Jackson at this point? If Jackson gets injured again, do you have a guy that could come in and plug and play? That's where I'm thinking about him. And I think he's a good enough prospect where you could develop him to possibly be a starter if you move on from Jackson in a couple seasons. This is an insurance policy at this point.
Yeah, I'm okay. The only thing I would argue is the Charles Grant. I think he's more of an upside play. Long arms, almost 35-inch arms. He measured at 6'5", 311. I honestly,
I'm cool
I'm more looking at it. I'd go Grant. I think he's a guy who you could probably say if things the stars align, competition, it will concern you, right? He played at William Mary, but if the stars align, that's
a
big
huge
thing.
one compared to Oregon.
Thing. Right. Grant, if the stars align, he could be like he has as much potential to be your left tackle than Patrick Paul, but it's risky.
But do you want to have two projects? Do you want to have two projects at left tackle? At tackle,
I didn't consider Paul a project. He was a 5-year vet that played at. That's the whole thing I never got. I think Paul's the same guy he was in college. The thing with Paul is that what sold me on him is that like some of the same things he did in college, he's doing in the pros, and he's getting away with it. I think his length is just the key to him. But yeah, what would you ask, Josh?
How Grant was at the Senior Bowl, right?
Well, I don't remember. I don't remember if he was at. I think he was. Let me see. Was he at the Senior Bowl? Let me see.
I was going to ask how he.
Yeah,
did.
I didn't look. He's somebody I recently.
That's what concerns me. Is normally
he's somebody I recently took a look at, and that's why I'm. And then somebody kind of DM me about him.
You normally get these guys that go through the Senior Bowl and do that, and that's where they start to pop off.
Yeah, no, he didn't. He didn't. Okay. And that would have been huge because a small school like Zabo, you remember Quinn Myers? Those guys played at a small school and they kind of stepped up the competition. They showed they can do it. So yeah, that's a good point. This is an upside play. There's more potential, I think, with him. I think Cornelius. That's your guy, right, Bobby?
I think I'm going to.
I'm rolling with Cornelius.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Only reason I say that is because he's gone against top competition. Charles Grant's over here playing against Delaware. Yeah. So
perfect. I'm okay with that. I don't have a big enough conviction.
Yeah.
I think.
But someone to look out for in the process.
Yeah, if you tell me 3 years from now he's a starting left tackle in the league,
it wouldn't surprise you.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Okay.
There you go. Well, and again, this is just as we go on. It changes as we go. But again, I'm just thinking competition. I'm thinking about.
I agree.
Yeah, so we'll roll over this. So we'll double dip here.
George is a hell of a lobbyist.
Well,
there's some names that keep coming. Man, I love Ferguson.
There's a name that's.
If we didn't draft the tight end, I love Terrence Ferguson. He's going to go way.
Let me ask you, you're a Georgia fan there with the hat.
True.
Talking about Mandone Jr., man. You don't know much about him?
I don't know. So
I'll
tell everyone when I watch Georgia games, I watch as a fan. When I evaluate players, I take the fan hat off and I try and evaluate that way. I haven't watched them yet to evaluate them, so couldn't really tell you too much about them. Okay. All I will say is outside of Michael Williams, the Georgia linebacker group just did not play well, especially in coverage. It was like there was just a gap in the middle of the field every time someone threw against us or did anything. So I'm a little hesitant against that Georgia linebacker group.
Do we have any Chen and Tindo, PSD? Like he can reach small, he can run though. That's obvious.
Yeah, he can run.
He can run.
He was overdrafted for sure.
Yeah, I'm not huge here going with that. Boy, David Walker's a smaller kind of DN. Oof. You know who tested well is Tyler Barron from Miami. Who tested really well at the combine.
He did.
Yeah, he did. Scottabo, I'm just. Do we want that?
We're in the fourth round.
Josh would be the one who. Josh would be the one that would tell it.
Scottabo?
Yeah. We do need that big physical. And look, he's going to be a part-time player. He would complement the rotation. A-Chain. I wanted to see him run. A few guys I wanted to see the long speed on him.
No.
Didn't run. He's he likes to get hit. He likes to see contact, right? Two things we don't have at that position. But again, I agree with Martinez is still available, isn't he?
Martinez is still there.
How much? What do you have the difference on? How do you feel about the difference between Gordon, Martinez, and Scotabo? Is there a big difference for you guys there?
So,
Schlesinger. I love Schlesinger.
So for me, again, Martinez and Gordon, I'm big on. I liked what I saw from them when I was watching their stuff. Ollie Gordon, I have a good grade on him.
Yeah,
I'm cool. I'm skipping I'm skipping Scatabo here. I would look at.
What about wide receiver? We need
who is available at running back though, like just in general, so we can see like the playing field.
Gordon,
so if you scroll down a little bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, go down. Yeah. Brashard Smith is kind of that. Remember Brashard Smith, right? He was a Miami player. He was a wide receiver at UM. He's kind of that do it all kind of back, but I don't think they're going to look at him.
Like
RJ Harvey.
Etienne. I think Trevor Etienne is going to be a Miami player.
What about Taj Brooks in the 5th, 6th round? Great pass blocking running back. Let me see the time.
Nick Nash, the 6'2". You could probably get him.
Well, the receiver market dried up. Go down a little bit on the receivers. Pat Bryant's there. Ricky. Oof. Let me see Wells out of Ole Miss. Yeah, I knew he tested pretty well. I didn't watch a ton of him.
I thought Brew McCoy went back. I thought he was going back in. Maybe not. But
let me see the wide receivers. All the guys I liked kind of they dried up
Bryant,
the market.
Illinois. Good side.
Yeah, Pat Bryant. We're kind of stuck here. We don't know which way to go.
Well, I would tell you, for me, my thing would be I would probably go corner here. I think Kobe would be the pick.
Let me see the corner market.
Kobe.
Yeah, we're fine with that. If he's still available,
let's roll with Kobe.
Circle back. Yeah.
Let's see here. All right. So this is where I would make my pick at running back at this point in time.
Picks.
We do. We do. We made that big trade. Well, Miami already has a lot of picks.
I got somebody I'm banging the table for here, though.
Who's that?
Demetrius Knight Jr.
The linebacker. Okay. If you're banging the table, we could roll with that because we do need a linebacker. I'm okay with that. I think we'll roll with that. Ollie's there, and I love Ollie. But I'll roll with Demetrius here, and let's see where it falls.
Oh, I didn't realize. Did you lose your back?
No. Yeah, I lost the back, but Martinez is sitting right there.
Yeah,
Martinez.
But
What?
Oh, hey, it's his. Josh, get in there. Get in there, Josh. Bang the table for somebody.
Tell me what Damian Martinez is going to do for this offense that Trevor Etienne isn't going to do.
Trevor Etienne.
I can't.
Someone that's going to go late, who's a 5-star high school player that just went into a Georgia, was hurt a little bit, kind of set him down, but he's got all the athletic ability that you would need at the running back position. He's a good running back.
Size means it's different. I think they need somebody with some size in the backfield.
Yeah.
That's where I would differentiate.
And that's the thing. In Martinez, it's not just size, but he's speed. And I mean, and there were plays where I saw where I thought, well, and he showed it though in the combine. But what I'll say is, when there were times where I was watching him, as a fan, but not then on film, but where you would think that, okay, he's going to get stopped and he would just power through. He has that. I think at this spot, I think
Miami.
it's just too.
I'm just kidding.
Played for that.
Wait,
and I want a hurricane, but no, I like Martinez, and I think he would fit really well.
Can you go to the running back, if you don't mind? Go to the running back, running back group. Yeah, okay. Martinez, Sanders, Smith, Jordan James, RJ Hart, Taj Brooks would be the other one I would argue. I'd probably go.
Damn.
Go to the linebacker. I want to see Schlesinger wasn't still available. Somebody said Schlesinger. There's no way that guy's available. No, okay. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, so if this is to me where we take a look at quarterback or running back, our developmental guy or running back.
Yeah,
I like the
quarterback.
quarterback.
I love Tyler Shuck, man. Love Tyler Shuck. I don't know about you guys.
You get him in the next pick.
Okay. All right, we'll go with it. Go with your guy. It's your show, Bobby. Go with Martinez.
No, it ain't like that. But I just, for me,
Bobby, it's your show. You do whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm just saying, man. I you know what I'm saying? I mean,
you want your UM guy. I say we go Tyler Shuck.
He's probably not, but Travion Henderson's not available.
Oh, no way, dude.
Okay.
If he's available, we're running the card over
Yeah.
there.
That's my guy.
If he's available, we messed up. The Nick Nash, wide receiver out of San Jose State. He did the Senior Bowl. I think he came off really good.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
He has some size to him. He's somebody I think I would consider at this pick. You need another receiver, especially with a little bit of size to him. I don't know how physical he is, but
did we take the running back, or are we still?
We did. No, we took Martinez.
Okay.
Bobby banged it. We were gonna all get poisoned if we didn't take Martinez.
Yeah.
Come with a whole new lineup next week. I'm just playing.
Go to the wide receivers. Luke Kendra, the guard.
Luke Kendra's still there.
Yeah. Theo.
Jimmy
Kobe
Horn
Hudson.
Jr. 5'8". My goodness.
Yeah, we're getting away from that. Boy, I wish one of the Iowa State kids was still there. Boy, I love Higgins and Jalen Noel. What about? I don't love the wide receiver group here.
Yeah, I mean, Kendra's on the board. I mean, we could go. Howard Cross Jr., Howard Cross III is still there. We could go with the quarterback. Jordan Phillips is right there.
Are you familiar? Any of you guys familiar with Shuck?
Curtis Work is there. I'm cool with Curtis Work, man. I like Work.
I'm good with that too.
Indiana.
I go Shuck, but I go. It's called Show, but it's he. The guy is a athletic guy, big arm. I think he ran 4.6.
So, well, you know why Tyler Shaw makes a lot of sense is the injury history, and I think Chris Greer being there, I think puts it there.
Yes, yes. But again, I don't mind that in the 5th round going for a guy with some.
Yeah,
I get it. No, that's fair.
Where you do that.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's have fun with it. Let's go.
Yeah. Is that it?
No, I think we're at 200. Got a couple 200 picks. At least we got a little bit of a break here. All right.
This is where you throw a shot. You would at the board for to me. I'm looking at
a couple of Alabama A&M players.
Well, actually,
you want to go Shiloh?
Let's go Shiloh.
No, I'm okay with Shiloh.
Shiloh's cool. He looks to hurt you, boy.
Yeah,
man. Did we no? Okay, well, I don't think we did, but it don't matter here. Let's see.
Is that fast receiver, that 6'5" receiver ran a 4.3 still available? Thornton out of Tennessee.
Which one? McCoy?
No, go down. No, not McCoy. Go down the list.
Oh, Will Shepard is still there. Will Shepard. I think he has some size to him. 6'2", 198.
I think Matthew Golden, Dante Thornton.
Yeah, Dante Thornton. He blew it up at 6'5". I don't remember a lot of 6'5" receivers running a.
I don't see him on there.
Yeah, I don't think he's there. Who are the best players on the board? Is he the best according to them?
Tonka Hemingway, Crenshaw Dixon.
He sounds like a good player.
He does. That name right there is that that guy's to come out and be like a Pro Bowl. There's some guys with names you go, oh, that dude's legit.
But he went to Florida, so
that's where we are in the draft.
Yeah, that's right. We're gonna go by names here. But look at this, Tonka Hemingway. Like here comes Tonka.
Nazir Stackhouse.
Yeah.
Come on, dude. Oh, dude, Stackhouse.
Let's take a shot.
Jackson Hall.
Or do you want to go? Do you want to get another developmental guy to come have him compete? 2 guys at the quarterback position.
Dalton Cooper sounds like he starts at guard for a team for a long time.
Let's go, Dalton Cooper.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm cool with Crenshaw Dixon just because I love. I'm just reading his size.
Name here.
His size, but look at You know what I mean? And you're getting him in the round 7.
Hold on. Let's open that up real quick. I just want to see.
I know.
He's
I
a
know
Ryan Hayes. He's a Ryan Hayes pick.
And was penalized 11 times in a single
That's
year.
a Miami
2022.
player. That's a Miami player.
You start the draft with physicality.
He has very mediocre get off. They're hyping him up in that little write up there.
That poor guy. He probably goes, "Let me see what they say about me." Well, fuck. It's like,
11 times, very mediocre get off.
oh man.
We could use. I mean, who do we get a tight end? Oh, Mason Taylor.
I mean,
we could use another one.
There you go.
We could
Hey,
use another one.
Carson Vincent, 5-year starter, lots of experience. I mean, it's Alabama A&M.
I don't mind these small school guys at the end.
You can't tell me not to take Curtis Rourke as well. Like, go get 2 quarterbacks.
Go get 2 quarterbacks.
Let's do it. I'm down with quarters. I'll do it. I don't give a damn.
Do we have another pick?
No, that's it. We're done.
But if none of these quarterbacks work out, we have ammo to go get.
You got a second and third.
That's
like if the draft went like this, I think I'd be okay with it. You know what I mean?
We have ammo to go get Manning next year.
There you go. That's so funny. The draft via name. This is off the rails. George is a little obvious. Oh man. Oh, Stringer was at 64. Yeah.
Oh, I love. Oh, okay. Yeah. I should have banged the table more for him. I love him. Oh,
but no, man. Again, with the War Room, this is
fun. I might consider doing something like this on my show. It's fun, man. I'll have you on, Bobby. How about that? And Josh, we'll do this on my channel one
there you go.
Before the draft.
Yeah,
sounds good.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. You know, I'm down with it. But yeah, this is what's cool about the War Room. It's just you get a different perspective, and you're going at not going at each other, but it's just and what Josh I always appreciate, because Josh was like, "But are we thinking about this?" And you go, "Well, damn," and then that's how it goes. So, is it perfect? No, not to the eyes of some, but you never know. Again, as we get deeper into the scouting thing, we'll know more about players, the different types of players that are available. I will say, man, the conviction on Kenneth Grant, and Gray Zabel, Mason Taylor, Billy Bowman, think about Damian Martinez, but then you come out again at the end, though, you go 2 quarterbacks, which, people might go, well, oh, we got too many needs. Well, you don't know what happened in free agent, but at that time, are you really hating at that point?
Those are a lot of tickets.
That's a lot. That's an extra pick. You're think about that. Now you get to see one X ends up in your practice squad. One maybe one show. Tyler Show, what they were right. I don't know. I have to watch him. But I will just say, though, reading what they're saying about him, and I'm intrigued, because they say, hey, if this guy was fully healthy, had a clean bill of health, he would be right there in that conversation with a Shedeur and a Cam Ward. So I'm like, and I'm hearing what George is saying. I'm going, okay, wait, man, this is intriguing. So you come away with someone like that, and if he stays healthy and he comes in and he shows out, well, damn. So, as we get closer to the draft, this comes a little more cleaner and clearer, or whatever, but it's always fun. Yeah. George, you have something to say?
Yeah, I'll just close with this. Like, and it just it's still early on in the process. We all haven't got through all the players yet. No.
Yeah.
And what the fun thing is, we're going to be right and we're going to be wrong sometimes, and that's okay. You know what I mean? We'll be right in a player. You could be right. I could be wrong. That's okay with it. It's the fun part of this, and that's what I think people don't understand. We're not in the business to be right or wrong. We're in the business to give you the most educated guests that we can, that we put our work and time in. And again, we're still doing it. This is fun. I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely, my man. Josh, anything to wrap up with? Final words?
No, I agree. Just in here, just to have those conversations around what did we see? What does that happen? I'm 100% wrong, like most times. There's only a few players I'm right about. But I am going to tell you what I see on film, because what I do think is that we do have the value of having film to go watch. A lot of people don't have that. So we can then go and say, okay, this is what we see. We're going to educate you, like George said, about what we did see on the film. And then you can take what we have and go form your own opinion as well. So we're here just to do it. It's fun for us. But I do have to go because my wife might kill me.
Oh, man. But all right, guys. Hey, thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you. Join us next weekend for another episode of the Miami Dolphins Draft Show on the clock here on FTSN. Don't forget to go check out Finn's Faithful Pod and like and subscribe to his channel for great Dolphins content and draft content as well. And now Jason Sarney on Thursday nights for the on show, the on season.
The Monday I'll have I think I'm having Dante Collinelli on to recap the Senior Bowl Monday night at 8.
Awesome.
Thursday, another episode of the on season, and we're probably going to break down edge and linebacker group. So Jason's really good at. So I appreciate you guys checking that out. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Like and subscribe. And as always, Dolphin fans, fins up.